All right, it looks like we are live, and as soon as we get the countdown, I'll hit the best intro in the world. What am I doing here? What am I doing here? There we go. Kufar Akbar, welcome to another edition of the Cross and the Crescent discussion group. Uh-oh, somebody's got a hot mic going back here. Let me mute. No, that's not it. Hold on, let me mute this one. That was it. It was your mic, Paul. Are you at a football game or something? It sounded like you had a bunch of fans cheering you on there in the background. I'm not exactly sure why that is.
That's how Paul rolls, man. That's
how he is. Yeah, maybe he is. So we had the Canadian Caffer on here today, and when he came in, he's got Ed, being the musician and knowing everything about music, he says it sounds like you got, what was it, like a hot amp or something? It's like you have your amplifier like electric guitar, and it's just humming us really loud, but we'll get it worked out. Okay, so welcome to the show. We are here every Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we also roll out here on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, and the construct of the show is one where we have like a panel discussion. We talk, and then we invite people to the show and bring them up on stage. They have, they're listening to their radio or something, Mr. Kufar Phobia, but that's okay. What is it? What does it say? Clear as mud. What does that say?
Oh, it says the book is clear as mud.
The book. Oh, that is the Quran. That is
right.
Okay, that's good. Okay. He's got it. See, the thing is, you got a new icon every week, and I can't.
Well,
keep
that
up
one
with
came
it.
from our show that we did. XYZ was the one that had posted it. Oh, so I said I'm going to do a meme. So that's the new logo now, since we're doing dissecting.
The book that is clear as mud.
Yeah.
I like that. Is that the same muddy pool that the sun sets in?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
There it is. Okay, as long as we're being consistent.
That could be where they found the mud, at least, if you could find a place where the sun sets in the mud.
We are only in chapter 5.
You don't believe that? And you don't believe that?
I don't.
You must have some type of phobia if you don't believe that. Okay, so let's go back to what today we're going to be talking about Muhammad's treatment of women. Our sister Connie reminded me this week that this is still kind of a topic that is hot, based on a little visit we had last week from the one who had his fourth point of contact handed to him by Dr. David Wood a couple weeks ago. And if you guys don't know what a fourth point of contact is, Google it. Anyway, it was handed to him and served with him with relish. And he got on, he says that he's scheduled a second debate. And in this second debate, now he's laid the trap for the good doctor. The problem is I've heard about having this trap laid before, because don't you see that he sent me an email saying that he had laid the trap for me, and I've fallen right into it. But I can't figure out what I fell into, and that was a year ago. So, Mr. Punctuality, we thought we would double back on some of the things that you said during the debate, and our sister Connie prepared a couple short little videos for that we'll be playing here in a second. But I wanted to get something out there that the Rad, of course, he's always up to no good. He sent me a video clip this morning, and it's just absolutely classic. Now, if you guys did miss it, there was another debate that occurred on YouTube yesterday with AP, the apostate prophet, and Ali Dawah. Now, I am convinced Ali Dawah purposely dressed up to look like a cartoon character in this debate. Now, I promise you, I'm with all sincerity. You cannot for a debate on YouTube. You know, AP shows up with his T-shirt that says, I don't know, stay away from Islam or whatever. Ali Dawah comes with this in this 3-piece suit with a.
He said he did it on purpose for some reason. He said that's the reason I'm wearing this suit. And I mean, he looked ridiculous. He said there was a reason why he was wearing the suit or something like that. In the dialogue, debate, slaughter, cringeworthy, whatever you want to call it. But he says, yeah, well, that's the reason why I'm wearing the suit or something like that. And AP says, yeah, I was going to ask you about that, but I never heard the reason why. But yeah, he looked like he looked like a cartoon character. He looked how he sounded, like an idiot.
Okay, you guys. Okay, you guys are always badgering me about never. We were just talking about this prior to the show. How I never watch movies, and I don't know anything about movies. Okay, let me ask you guys a question. Have you guys ever heard of the movie Johnny Dangerously?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so Michael Keaton's in this. It is hilarious. Okay, in that movie, there's a guy by the name of Ruben Mulroney or whatever his name is. The guy butchers the English language, and he sounds like a moron all the time. That guy Ali Dawah was reminding me of that guy in that movie when he was on there. And the sad thing is that at the end of the movie, they deported him back to, they deported him to a country that he wasn't even from. I think they sent him to Zimbabwe or something. He wasn't from. Anyway, that's what Ali Dawah reminded me of yesterday. But okay, so Rad is going to. There was a couple people who opined upon this. We're talking about it. So Rad has got a video clip that he's going to share with us as soon as he shares his screen. One of these, the guy that they were talking. Rad, can you share your screen and show us what we're looking at here? There we go. The guy that is doing this, let me see here. Whoops. Okay, hold on. I got to remove it real quick. How do I do this? Share. There we go. Share screen, not mine. Okay, hold on a second. No, you're the one that does that, right?
Is what? Add the song?
Okay. Yeah. Okay, you do the song. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so this guy has like 125,000 subscribers. Who is this guy that's doing this, Brad? Do you know who this is?
Yeah, he's a convert to Islam. He went and actually, unlike our favorite imam from Houston, Texas, who took 2 classes, who signed up for 2 classes. We don't know if he completed them or not at Michka University. This dude actually went over to Saudi Arabia and immersed in the program. He actually speaks fluent Arabic. He actually studied at Saudi Arabia Islamic University, whatever it is. Okay, one of the big ones. Okay, so he studied at the sheikhs. Okay, so he does know his crap. Okay, so he's pretty solid in that thing. But the interesting thing about this, though, is that they're complaining that these these YouTube dawis, okay, who have no knowledge, who are not students of the knowledge and don't have the knowledge, They go out and they do this click stuff, and they just do it for clicks and likes and stuff like that. They think they're representing Islam instead of leaving it to those that have knowledge. This dude will not debate anyone. And I actually made the comment. I said the reason why these guys are the ones doing debating because the ones that you claim, like yourself, who have the knowledge, are not doing the debating. You know what I mean?
Why not? Why don't they debate?
Because they know they can't.
Oh.
Because they know. I mean, he's got all kinds of videos. He's got 2 videos I was watching him on why using philosophy is wrong and logic is wrong. It's against Islam. It's against the deen.
Okay, just to be clear, I believe Rad is talking about the guy on the right, Knowledge North. Knowledge North. Yeah, he's got a lot of big words.
No, this guy. I thought this was
Knowledge North has a lot of big words. But this other guy on the left, yeah, he's got thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah, the guy on the left is the guy's channel. He's new to the scene. He's been around for a couple of years, but like I said, he converted to Islam. He went to Saudi Arabia University, an immersion program. He speaks fluent Arabic. Okay, he lived there for years. Blah blah blah. Okay, but anyway, dude, the reason why so they're slamming Awi Dawa. Awi Dawa. Because they're actually agreeing with the apostate prophet. They're like, I hate to agree with the guy, but he's right. This is totally cringeworthy. This is totally stupid. He's just making a fool of himself. But the thing that got me, dude, they slammed our sponsor, man. They slammed one of our sponsors, Camel Urine Cola, man.
And I just got a new delivery yesterday.
Just got a new delivery? All right. Yeah,
delicious.
We overcame the supply line shortage, so we're working back on it.
Well, it's because all those truckers aren't parked outside of our capital.
Oh no,
they are in Canada.
Yeah,
you guys got problems up there.
We got the magic carpet rider, magic flying donkey now flying in the deliveries now, so we're good. But yeah, so let's pull it up. All right. Play this.
And then you just go ahead and stop it when
yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Here we go. All right, let me get to the right screen here. Hold on. Here we go. Oh, it'll help if I got to the right screen. Here we go.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome all viewers. Once again, with us is our good friend Abdul Rahman of Knowledge North. Jazakallah khair.
Oh, wrong screen. Sorry, guys. Wrong screen. Sorry. Let me share another one here. This is the one I wanted. Sorry. Where'd you go? Sorry. Technical difficulties. All right, here we go. Where's my fire?
I do not see it.
Hold on, because I got it in Firefox. I got like 20 different browsers open up here. So let me copy it over to Chrome. Bada bing. There we go.
I could just play it from my end if you would like.
No, I got it.
Okay. All right. We know how that is.
No reason to get desperate. No reason to get desperate here. Here we go. All right. There we go. Now can you see it?
Yes. There we go. Okay. All right.
Here we go.
With a sense of traditional Islam, with a sense of calling to the Quran and Sunnah. And of course, when you mix urine with milk, you're not going to have, or fresh water, you're not going to end up with a tasty product, a tasty beverage. In fact, it will encourage you to, what do you call it, bath? when you throw, we call it vomit, right? In America, it's called bath. Well, to puke up, right? To sick, you'll end up contributing to something even worse. Some will be greater than the individual parts of filth.
Did you guys hear that, dude? He totally.
Okay, so you said that when you mix urine with milk.
Milk, yeah.
So what is he talking about? Is he talking about the?
He was talking about Awi Dawa. His argumentation is like mixing, but no, dude, he totally slammed our. He said that urine and milk don't go together. It'll make you barf. Are you barfing yet? Just saying.
No, I'm not, because I'm not mixing milk with it. See, that's the thing. I'm following the Sunnah. Come on.
No, the Sunnah is they mix camel urine and camel milk together.
Oh, is it so? Okay. Well.
Yeah. So, but did you see the dude on the left? He's like laughing. I'm like, dude, you just slammed your prophet, dummy. You're sitting here saying that you can't, that mixing milk and urine together will make you sick and make you barf. But that's the magic medicine, dude. In the Quran is camel urine and milk. You know what I mean? I mean, these idiots, even when they're attacking Awi Dawa, They attack themselves. I mean, dude, they're just idiots. I am sorry, total idiots, dude. Don't be slamming our sponsor, Camel Urine Cola, man. Or was it Camel Milk Cola? I forget. Either way,
one of the two. We're just getting a free supply. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was. Well, it's just like everything else. It's just an unmitigated disaster for Ali Dawah. I mean, and the funny thing that I noticed, this because Ali Dawah talking to you like this, you sound like, of course, you sound like a character from a TV movie that people would, you just want to hate. That's what he sounds, and he dresses up for it. The whole time, what he's trying to do is he's trying to talk down to the apostate prophet. He's just like, I am your teacher. You will listen. Do you know? And he was talking about, things like contingency and, you can't be an atheist if you believe in contingency and all this.
Oh,
and
yeah, they hated that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, dude, if that's all you have, and you know what is surprising? Well, it's not surprising. It's not surprising, but how many people actually listen to this guy? Sometimes I wonder, why? Because they're trying so desperately to.
Ali Dawah, a lot of people listen to him. He makes money off of this.
I know this is what I'm saying. He tries so desperately to come off with some type of intellectual authority on Islam. This is the same guy that says that he would marry his daughter off if she started menstruating, regardless of her age. She would be ready for marriage. Now, who in the world would believe something like that? You have to be a circus clown to believe something like that. And yet, there he is, the circus clown himself, projecting himself as being some type of, intellectual authority on Islam or religious matter. Or actually, if you just talk about, what's the phrase I'm looking for here? It doesn't matter. But when he tries to project himself or portray himself as somebody that is an intellectual, it just makes him look foolish. All he's doing is just looking up things on the internet and then regurgitating them. And
I do give him credit. He is, unlike our favorite Houston imam, he is actually true to the deen. He's true to the Sunnah. Yes, old enough to bleed, old enough to breed. Okay, so he is being true to the Sunnah of the Prophet. Okay, so I do give him credit for that.
Okay, all right, fair enough. But if you follow the Sunnah of the Prophet, you're a scumbag. Let's just face it.
Yeah, pretty much. And the marital advice doesn't work out for you, as the imam found out when he practices on his wife.
Yeah,
but we won't get into that. Yeah.
No, we won't. All right, so that's kind of a segue into what I want to play here. Our sister Connie she put 5 videos together. I'm only going to play 2 today, Connie. I'm sorry. But they deal with not only the debate that went with between David Wood and the imam, but also she adds commentary from other people. So let's start this first one.
This is my final point here. So this person says, for the Western mind, perhaps the most disturbing fact about, quote unquote, the founder of Islam is that he has had a sexual relationship with a 9-year-old girl. And because of this, it's become increasingly popular in some circles to refer to the Prophet of Islam as a pedophile.
Okay, it is because he's a pedophile. If you're yeah, I can do it. All right, hold on. Okay.
I know.
No, that's right.
I'm ruining your banner.
I don't know. Could we look up the definition of pedophile?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're 54 years old and you have intercourse, if you have a physical relationship with a girl who is 9, that is by definition
a pedophile.
It is a pedophile. So
okay, hold on. I have to interject here. I am okay. So yeah.
Are you going to defend Kenny again? Because you're doing a lot of this lately.
I know. I have to defend Kenny because Kenny's not here to defend himself. So besides, I do a better job at defending Kenny than Kenny does.
That's true.
That's for sure. But no, okay, guys, I'm sorry. I have to disagree. I have to agree with Kenny. You shouldn't call Muhammad a pedophile. This is very derogatory towards pedophiles. This causes pedophiles not to seek, treatment or help. It ostracizes them by calling them pedophiles. The correct term is MAP, or minor attracted person. We have to be all-inclusive, people. Do you see in the new woke utopia that we are living in? So we have to include the pedophiles. Oh, I'm sorry. See, it even screws me up. See, I was just trying to pedophiles. No, they're minor attracted persons. Okay, so we have to be kind. We have to be decent. Okay?
Well, Brad, there's one problem with that. It's because every educator in the United States and most likely around the world who is certified by their state, at least in the United States and in Canada, is required to, or they risk losing their ability to teach. All right. If you don't report it, your ability, and it's found out, your ability to teach is revoked, stamped, gone.
You can lose your license. You're absolutely right, Paul.
So, Muhammad the pedophile, if we didn't report him, we could actually, they might be able to place some kind of charges on us for negligence. Yeah.
That's
scary, but it's true. He's absolutely right. Because if there's some type of abuse going on at home and you do not report, and you find out about it and you don't report it, you can be held liable for that as a teacher. The school system can be held liable for it.
We hold the role of en loco parentis. And when we do not protect the children that are in our custody, we can be charged by the parents.
Sad.
So in other words, we wouldn't be having Kenny come and teach children then.
Kenny would not be able to. Kenny, number one, can't get within 1,000 yards of the school because of being okay. It doesn't matter. All right, let's go back to this because I just wanted to make sure that we understood. He goes, well, it's these Islamophobes are calling our prophet a pedophile.
Minor attracted person.
Because he was. Okay, so let's go play this thing in its entirety.
Yeah, this is my final point here. So this person says, for the Western mind, perhaps the most disturbing fact about, quote unquote, fact about the founder of Islam is that he has had a sexual relationship with a 9-year-old girl. And because of this, it's become increasingly popular in some circles to refer to the Prophet of Islam as a pedophile. He says, this is, of course, extremely offensive to Muslims who view Muhammad as the ideal servant of God and the greatest example of what a man should strive to be. Now, note, saying for the Western mind is implying that the Westerners are somehow more civilized than those in the East. It's xenophobic, Islamophobic. He's talking about Muslims. And what fact is he talking about? The one based on authentic hadith that have varying sources? And what circles, this is my final words, what circles call Muhammad a pedophile? David Wood circles. David Wood circles.
We don't want a law banning children from marrying because it is against our teaching, the Prophet's instruction, and the Quran. We're simply asking Parliament to make marriage legal after the age of 17. We also want those who break the law to be punished.
Those are just Islamophobes.
اعتداء على جنسيا في ليلة الدخلة كان غصب عني لأنه كنت أنا وأمه وأخته ومرات أخو جالسين فمرات أخو خرجت بقيت أمه وأخته فاعتداء علي كان يقول ما في الله أن أنتي الآن كنتي مرتي خلاص.
أمها موجودة كانت لما اعتدى عليك جنسيا؟
أي لأني أمه كانت ماسكالي.
مسكاكي؟
مسكاني هكذا. وأنا طبعا كنت بأنا صحيح بس ما في حد مني يجي يساعدني.
Okay, pause it there. Pause.
You can't pause these things. You have to play them all the way through, or not play them at all. I do not know why that is, but it is what it is. But I mean, when you look at this thing, this thing is okay. The whole thing is that you can't not tell us what to think. These hadith come from various sources. There are no hadith out there that say that Aisha was anything other than 9. There isn't any. All of the hadiths that we've cited here before. Hold on. Just as a reminder, let me remind you guys of something here. Let me just share this with you. I'm going to share my screen. Let me go here. Let's come on, get up here. Let's go. Let's do this. Okay, let me share my screen. Let me just remind you of what hadith there are that show that Muhammad Aisha was 9. Now, of course, we got the Quran saying that you could have sex and marry. You can marry and have sex with girls who have not menstruated, because why? Well, you can divorce them too. But when we look at this, you have Sahih Bukhari says that she was 9. Sahih Bukhari says it was consummated and she was 9. Sahih Bukhari says she used to play with dolls on the presence of the Prophet, meaning that she was prepubescent. Sahih Muslim say that she was 9. Sahih Muslim say that she was 9 and played with her dolls. And Sahih Muslim also says that Muhammad died when she was 18. So if they're using this logic, well, if you start using this other math, how does this work out? When she was 18, Muhammad died. So how can she be much older, like 16 or 17, if she was with Muhammad? They say that for 9 years. How can that be? It doesn't work out. This works out. This math works out just fine.
Right.
And we had Sunan Abu Dawud says she was 9. He had intercourse with me when I was 9. Al-Nasi says that she was 9. Al-Nasi says again she was 9. Al-Nasi says that she was 9. Oh, here again, 18 when he died. Sunan Ibn Majah says that she was 9 and he was 18 when he died. Ibn Kathir says there's says there's no dispute among anyone on this matter of what?
That she was 9.
6. Hold on, let me just put my little laser pointer here. It says the Prophet married her when she was 6 years old, consummated the marriage at the age of 9. There is no dispute among anyone on this matter. Let's do this again.
Wait. Didn't Kenny say that Ibn Kathir said that she was much older, 18?
Yes.
This is
Bold-faced lied.
It's a big old lie. Big old lie.
He did the research.
You have Al-Tabari says that she was 9, and then you even have in the Sirah, the biography of Muhammad, says she was 9 or 10. So there you have the only time where it mentions anything other than 9, and that is in
which
Sirah,
is still
which was
statutory rape.
And again,
right,
the 9
even
or
with
10.
that, even
yes, sir.
Right, it does say 9, and then on top of that, if you look at the Sirah was not written down. I mean, this is over 200 years after the death of Muhammad.
Well, let's just clarify that. 9 or 10 depends on the month. Okay, all right, of what you're talking about here. Seriously. So yeah, she could be 9, like a month away from being 10. You know what I mean? Okay, so that all depends on the month because they date different months. Okay, in the year of when it was consummated. So yeah, she could have been. You know what I'm saying? But even so, if they're going by the lunar calendar, she's actually younger, and that's the calendar that they were going by. So she's actually younger than 9 because a lunar calendar year is what is it? Is it the lunar calendar year is shorter, right? Okay, than the solar year. By a month or so, isn't it? I mean, it can vary widely.
I don't know if it's a month, but I know it is a significant amount of time. I'm not exactly sure how long it is, but it is a significant amount of time. Okay, I want to play. Did we have somebody else just join us? Oh, DL just came up. Okay, all right. Here's another one that this one kind of tears your guts out.
Themselves and stop trying to disqualify the fact that the Muslims disagree, and you don't get to choose.
Simply asking Parliament. We're simply asking Parliament to make marriage legal after the age of 17. We also want those who break the law to be punished.
اعتدى على جنسين في ليلة الدخلة كان غصب عني لأنه كنت أنا وأمه ومرت أخو جالسين مرت أخو خرجوا لقيت أمه اعتدى علي كان يقول ما اعتدى علي كان يقول ما لا أنني أنت الآن قلت خلاص
أمه موجودة كانت لما تبدأ
لأني أمه كانت مسكانيها وأنا طبعا كنت بنا صحيح بس ما حد مني يجي يساعدني كنت أبكي بترجع بس ما حد شيء قالوا خلاص انت الحين حقش انت تصيد او انت ترجعي اي مكان.
Nujud's mother Samir believes that the marriage would ease the burden on their family and give her daughter a better life.
Everyone,
stop it.
Mute everyone.
I did. Everybody is muted.
Or you muted?
I was muted too. I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Mute Connie as well. Mute everyone.
I did. Everybody was muted. Now I can come on. I can see the screen where everybody's up here and everybody's mic had a line through it, including mine.
Okay, can we finish it through?
We have to play the whole thing. Here's what I know. I'm sorry. The point we're trying to make is that even in the Islamic world, where the Sharia is applied, not here in the West, but where this crap is actually taking place, there are screams for it to stop.
Yes, the Muslim women. And are they xenophobic? Are they Islamophobic, as Kenny was trying to advocate? No. They're defending these little children.
And that's the saddest thing. That's the role of parents. That's the role of adults, is to protect children.
That's because they've been listening to David Wood, the Islamophobe, and getting all their information from Islamophobes. But no, seriously, so they're protesting this, they're saying no to this. But you guarantee you got the imams out there saying, no, this goes against our Islamic identity. We cannot change these laws. This has happened in Pakistan. This happens all over the place. And they will riot, they will burn, they will destroy, and they'll go out and kill Kafir over it.
I agree.
This is what happens.
That's exactly what they do. And anytime that you would say that you can't do something like that, you're the bad guy. You know, you can't harm little girls. So you're the bad guy for bringing that up.
Right.
And what type of world do you live in where that is
a world of perversion?
A world of Islam.
Perversion derived from what Muhammad did.
Yes, from Islam.
And to point that out, we're the bad guys.
It's true.
Their own people, when their own people say it, it's okay. When their own people say it, it's okay.
Well, I don't know if they'll go that far. I don't. They'll just probably say, "Oh, they're probably actors or agents or whatnot."
Hey, Eric, can you post a comment from Jade, Mako?
Okay, let me. I'm sorry, Jay. Okay,
YouTube,
here we go. Yep, I see it.
Okay. Wow, a mother holding a young girl down for her adult son to rape her as she screams. This is beyond sick and perverted abuse.
Yes.
I agree that it is, but I guarantee you the same thing happened to that mother. This is perfectly normal. This is what happens. Okay, and I want to address this because remember, Kenny kept bringing up in the debate that there's no signs that she was sexually abused, okay, as a child. Well, if it's normal, okay, and the same thing that happened, to this mother is now happening to the, you know what I'm saying? It's perpetual. It keeps repeating itself. So in other words, Aisha being sexualized at the age of 9. Or I would say even younger, because the reports are that she lost all her hair due to stress. All her hair fell out. Okay. Actually, she says, I think in one report, she married me at 6, but they put off the wedding night because all her hair fell out. Gee, I wonder why all her hair fell out.
Could you imagine? I mean, think about that just for a second. You're a 6-year-old little girl, and you have this grotesque beast of an old man who's 50.
Well, no, come on. At that time, well, no. Well, how old was he then? He was
50. He was 50 when she was 6. He was 54 when they consummated. He was 53 or 54 when they consummated. So he would have been 50 when he married her. So could you imagine being a 6-year-old little girl?
Kenny's age?
I could care less. But you got a 6-year-old little girl saying you're being married to this guy here. You're going to spend the rest of your life with this guy. Really? I'm just 6, and this guy, he's old enough to be in a grave. I mean,
she
50
don't even
years old
know.
at that time.
She don't even know what this means at this time.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I think that's the biggest problem. The only thing that she could probably comprehend at that age is that she's no longer going to be with her parents.
Probably.
Sonny Sleep says it's 51. So.
But either way, the thing is, dude, if this is normal, then what signs are you looking for? I mean that was normal. That mother holding that young girl down while her adult son raped her, that's normal to her. That's every day. That's what she went through, I'm sure. Okay, that's what her grandmother went through. That's just the way it is. So that's perfectly normal. That's I'll give you another example. There's a funnier example, and I actually like this kind of tradition, but if it's done right. There is this area somewhere in the Balkans, okay, where the young men, they go out and they kidnap their bride to be, okay. Now, in most cases, it's totally arranged. They know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's kind of it's going back to the days of when the Ottomans would go and raid, okay, the village. But so it can be campy, it can be fun, it can be romantic, you know, if it's done right. Because no, there are people who defend it. Like, yeah, this is what we did on our wedding night, okay? He came with all his friends and they kidnapped me and they took me away and we spent the night in a hotel and we were married, blah, blah, blah. But there are other cases where no, they actually go out and really kidnap a stranger. You know what I mean? So it can, goes horribly wrong. But again, this is something that is normal in this little corner nook of the world. So when people come in and complain about it, they're like, what are you talking about? This is what we do. You know what I mean? This is perfectly normal. How dare you criticize us for it? And I would actually defend it if it's done right. I shouldn't say done right, but where the couple knows about it, the girl knows about it, this is the thing, this is their marriage ceremony. You know what I mean? Kind of like eloping in the middle of the night. I think it's kind of cute, actually. But
there's nothing cute about that. What's wrong with you?
No, I'm sorry. Everybody's in on it. She knows it. You know what I mean? You go, I'm going, you get the dude all liquored up. I'm going to get my wife, and drags her out, like, the caveman, and whisks her away. I think that's romantic. But then again, I'm romantic,
And until the Pope comes, and then they realize, wow, this is not right. I'm a little girl.
Well, no, they're not. No, this is not a little girl. These are fully, these are like, anyway. But anyway, no. So I'm not saying. So now you confused me. But anyway, no. My point is this: if this is something that is normal, and nobody from the outside steps in and say, "No, that ain't right," it's going to continue on, and especially when you have this man who is so deified. And yes, I'm sorry, you've deified your prophet Muhammad, okay? So deified that they imitate that they imitate or should imitate everything that he does. So this is perfectly legal. This is Allah from Allah. This can happen in the 7th century Arabia. It can happen in the 14th century, 18th century, 20th century, and now 21st century. And that is the crime. Okay,
you are so on target that anybody who questions what's being seen, go look up the term squat toilet. If they're going to copy how a guy went to the toilet, they have no problem with copying him raping a child.
Right. Exactly. And if you say anything about it, just like Kenny says, you're an Islamophobe. If you say this is wrong, oh no, you're an Islamophobe, or you're not a Muslim, or you're takfired. You know what I mean? You can't speak out against this stuff. But anyway.
Yeah, well, good afternoon. I just want
George.
Hi.
Welcome.
I want everyone to see that this is typical cult behavior. Many cults have gone through the years, and we can learn from them. And the patterns that we see when we study the cults is just the same thing in Islam. It's the cult of Muhammad, following what he did. One of the other things, too, that you need to recognize is that these cults, the leader always, or most often, I shouldn't say always, most often, he grants himself sexual partners, more sexual partners than everyone else. He's now in charge of these people. He now controls their minds. So now he wants to fulfill all his sexual fantasies. Muhammad has at least 11 wives, and he fantasized obviously about having a little girl. And I mean, even from the hadith, you hear him advising his followers to get a little young girl. So he fantasized about having a little young girl, and he got God to agree. God to say, yes, you should do this. This is fine. This is divinely ordained that you should have a little girl. And now, because of this cult, it has become a pestilence on the world. And the only reason why this particular cult has spread so much, and we're talking about it now, there have been many cults, but the reason why this particular cult has spread is because of Islam's military conquest throughout the world over centuries. That's why it has become so popular, and people now believe that it is okay to do these things because Islam was militarily successful.
Well, I think you're right with as far as it being a cult, because if you look at what was that group that was down in Waco, Texas, that David Koresh was in charge of? What were they? It's the Branch Davidians. Branch Davidians. There we go. Okay, the Branch Davidians. And notice what he did. He started saying, "Okay, you guys that have your wives, you have to marry them over to me. I have to have sex with them because I'm whatever excuse it was." But that's what he was doing. He was saying, "Your wife is now going to be my wife, and you have no rights to her." And this is exactly, unfortunately, what we see with this guy. Okay, so the topic of today's show is Muhammad's treatment of women.
Sorry. Before you go on there, and you forgot to mention that this guy, David Koresh, he also got the older men, just like Ali did. He got the older men to agree to give his daughters to them.
Oh yeah.
To him. He did that too, just like Muhammad did. It's very similar. Warren Jeffs was a very similar thing, where he had multiple wives. I'm telling you, Islam is simply the cult of Muhammad. That's all it is. And it is big because it was militarily successful. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, somebody just popped out. Who was that? Okay, so I had Isa has been trying to get in forever. Who just dropped? Okay, so I mean, I keep getting message pops ups, and he's texting or sending me. Say, Isa, now would be the time to jump in if you're going to come. And I've actually thought about upgrading my subscription to StreamYard, but I haven't gotten to that point yet. Okay, so let's take a look at the treatment of women for Muhammad and how he treated women and how he set an example for half of the world's population. Not half of the world's population, I guess. Over the half the conductor for no, it's not that much. 1.6 billion. I guess that I was a little erroneous on writing that. Okay, so let's look at how he treated women. Number one, we've already talked about this. He married a 6-year-old girl, had sex with a 9-year-old, the same 9-year-old girl when he was over 50. He allowed men to marry and have sex with prepubescent girls. This is what we see today. And Kanye is brought up.
Can we put that in perspective? He had sex with a 9-year-old 4th grade girl. Okay, let's put it in perspective.
Something
9-year-olds. Yes, 9-year-olds would be in the 4th grade today.
Hold on. I have 2 grandsons, 9 years old, and they're in 3rd grade.
Yeah, they're on the radical moderate plan then, because I was in the 4th grade until I was 12.
I was in the 4th grade.
So it's not because they failed or anything. It's just because they.
No, I know they didn't meet the criteria.
3rd grade, 4th grade. Okay.
Okay, it's the same thing. They're elementary school age, and here he's 50. Because we always hear this excuse. Well, they had the marrying age in the colonies was 7 years old, or the king married a girl. Number one, the king and the colonial examples are not a pattern of conduct for the entire world to follow. Number two, when they did marry them, they weren't 50 years old. Old scumbags do that. Molestation started at 6. There you go. Right there. All right, let's.
Again, I have to object to the use of scumbag when referring to Muhammad. Please do not insult scumbags. I've been told,
Dr. Bill Warner, I had a conversation with him about that. And he goes, well, why do you call him a scumbag? I'm like, well, because he is. He goes, that's just a bad choice of words. I'm like, you're probably right. I need to find a different.
Because as a member of the scumbag motorcycle club, don't.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that you
call him a pervert then.
Well, maybe
that's what he is. Pervert.
Maybe either that or
protruding suborbital ridges, small cranium, 1300 cc brain. Neanderthal man.
No, then that's an insult to Neanderthals.
That's true. I wasn't going to say the same, but I mean that is true. All right, let's get back to this. Okay, so he allowed married men. Okay, prepubescent girls. All right, what's the next one? He allowed men to beat their wives into submission. Oh, we're going to be talking about that one here. Ricky Ticky. He hit his wife Aisha. He said a man will not be asked why he beats his wife. So you beat your wife. Nobody's going to ask you why. Allah's not going to ask you why you beat her. And this, what this does is it creates a culture that women are abused in, and we still see it today. He said that they're intellectually and religiously deficient. He said women were worth two witnesses of a man. He allowed and encourages men to rape women. He compared women to land where they can come in and whenever they like to sow their seeds. He said women were an evil omen. He said women annul prayers with dogs and donkeys, about the same level. Let's see here. He said women cannot travel without her male guardian or relative. He said women cannot be alone with male relatives. He even impregnated one of his slave girls. And he says that if a woman does not give in to the desires of the man, regardless of where they're at, when they're at, then Allah is going to be displeased with her until the next day.
One more, okay. Eric. One more.
Go ahead, Paul. What?
He said that women are dirtier than dirt.
Dirtier than dirt.
You have to wash yourself with dirt after you touch a woman.
Yeah,
that's pretty dirty.
And the sow the seeds. Didn't that say like plow in the fields or something like that?
I'm gonna quantify each of these with Quranic verses and hadith and with the Sharia, using the reliance of the traveler. So let's just go through this really quick. So when we look at Surah 434, it says that men expend of their property, righteous men are therefore obedient. And if you fear rebelliousness in a woman, if you fear, not if she is rebellious, but if you fear that she's being rebellious, you can do what? What does that say there? Let me get my pointer. Let me make sure my laser pointer. You can do what? You can beat them lightly with a toothbrush. No, I don't see that. It says you can beat them. And in some book, it says scourge in his translation. But
did they have toothbrushes in Muhammad's time?
I don't know if Colgate was the corporation at that time or not.
Okay, that surah where they're talking about using toothbrushes is not actually Sahih as well.
Oh, it's not?
Yeah, it's not Sahih.
Well, I'm thinking, what kind of stupidity is that to begin with? I'm going to beat you with a tooth. I'm going to come on, like hitting you with a pen. Pop, pop, pop. That's going to hurt. Fools. I mean, it's just fools that believe these type of things. How can you be so stupid? But there you go. Okay. All right. So you can beat them. Then, okay, so you can, let's see, Sunan Abu Dawud, this is a Sahih Hadith, says permitted to hit them. Many women then visited the wives of the messenger complaining about their husbands hitting them. Well, if your husband, or if Muhammad says that Allah via Gabriel to Muhammad says you can beat your wife if you fear that she's rebellious, what are you complaining about? It's part of your religion. It's the God of the universe saying that you could do it for Pete's sake. Who are you? If the wife does, let's see, this is the Sharia. This is from the reliance of the traveler. If the wife does not fulfill one of the above mentioned things, meaning that she does not have sex immediately with the man when he demands it, then she can't. This is how he can correct matters. And hitting her will bring her, and he believes that hitting her will bring her back to the right path. He can hit her. So there you go. It's even codified in the Sharia, even more explicitly. I just cut and pasted this, just a piece of it. And then if you get into the Sirah, the biography of Muhammad, it says it right there on page 651, you can beat them. So here you have the codification all over the place of the beating of women. Ibn Kathir, even his Tafsir, says that you can beat them. How? Well, I don't know. Here are a couple pictures of what happens to someone. I remember this one right here. This is one of the most famous ones where they got a picture of that guy in Afghanistan beating these ladies wearing a tent around. Why? Well, just a little too much ankle is showing. But look at this guy's ankles. I mean, don't we call that a little bit of hypocrisy? And look at the terrified little child here, too.
Oh, there's an excellent movie. It's actually the first movie from Afghanistan. There's a scene where all you see is a woman's ankles on a moped, and she's a medical doctor. This is after the Taliban took over, and she's definitely trying to hide her feet. And in the dialogue in the background, this is the religious police of the Taliban. He's like, "How dare you? She's showing her feet. How dare you? That is so sexually provocative. Is your wife a whore? Why are you doing this?" And she's desperately just trying to hide her bare exposed, feet and ankles. And it is a chilling scene. It pretty much sums up Islam. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Anyway,
I remember that poor lady. It was just her ankles were showing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she was young and she had grown some, and the tent wasn't long enough to cover, or whatever it was. But then you have this savage just going after this lady. And I mean, I'm not talking about a little hit. I mean, he is wailing back and he's doing it continuously. And it's just sick watching that crap. Then you have, this says he gave him a shove to the chest. This is what Muhammad did to Aisha. You remember the story where she follows him out, and, but in some other ones, it says that he punched her in the chest or he hit her in the chest. But it doesn't matter. He said that you could beat him.
Allah told him. No, go back to it. Let's read that whole thing. Allah told him.
He actually beats her breast, and it's just, I mean, I wouldn't even use the word chest. It's breast that he says that she says. He says he beat her on the breast.
And her skin turned green from the beating.
Let's look at this. So no sooner had I laid down, but he came in and said, "What is the matter, O Aisha? Why are you out of breath?" I said, "It is nothing." He said, "Either you tell me, or the subtle one, the all-aware, will tell me." I said, "O Messenger of Allah, may my father and mother be sacrificed for you." Wow. And I told him, he said, you were the person that I saw in front of me. I said, "Yes." He gave me a painful shove on the chest. Then he said, "Did you think that Allah and his messenger would be unjust to you?" After he beats her. I said, "Whatever the people conceal, Allah knows it." "Yes," he said, "Jibreel came to me when you saw me. He called me, but he concealed it from you." And I answered him, "But I concealed it from you." That's why he had to ask her, "What the hell were you doing following me around?" I forgot, what was he doing? No, there's more to this. He was out doing no good. He was up to no good. She was running, her husband was sneaking out on her to get a little side nookie or something like that. I don't know what it was. Oh, was it to go lay in the grave? I forgot what it was. But anyway, it was something. And she caught him. And, she got her up coming for it. Allah told him. Well,
I noticed.
May my parents be sacrificed to you.
Well, and you look at this one. Jibreel came to me. Now, it sounds to me like this Jibreel character is like a sock puppet that tells Muhammad whatever he wants to hear. Because remember, Jibreel came to him just immediately after he was challenged about, only a true prophet would know these three things, and one of them is the end of time. What are you going to eat just as soon as you get to heaven? And why does a child resemble its parents? And of course, he says, well, whoever has an orgasm first, that's the one that you're going to resemble. Jibreel, okay, the angel, fish level.
Loves a fish liver. Yeah, I mean,
so it says Jibreel. So here's the thing: Jibreel's coming to his rescue here, just in a nick of time. Jibreel came to me when you saw me. He called me, but concealed it from you. Ah, ha, ha. You can't hear Jibreel, but I can. And I answered him, but I concealed it from you. What a crock of Shiite is that? Okay. Muhammad said,
"That's some serious shit, hotter, dude." I'm just saying.
We got to be careful with that. Okay, so it says that Muhammad said a man will not be asked why he hits his wife. It says it in Sunan Abu Dawud. Says it in Sunan Ibn Majah.
Let me comment on that. This is in real world. This just happened. What was a decade ago now, and Saudi Arabia has changed the laws. Okay, only because of Western pressure. Okay. There's a case, okay, and you can look this up, you can Google it, where This woman was getting beaten to death by her husband. She called her father. The father went to the condo or whatever to put a stop to it. The police arrived, the Sharia police, arrived, and they arrested the father because in no way could he interfere with her husband. Okay? In other words, he gave over all rights to his daughter when they became married. Which, for the most part, yeah, that kind of is true. But I'm just saying, he could not stop the beating.
So the father gets arrested for trying to protect his daughter.
trying to protect his daughter, and he beat her to death.
Oh, he ended up beating her to death, really?
He beat her to death, yeah, and he got very little punishment for it because I don't even think he went to jail for it. I mean, if he did, he got out. Yeah.
Where was this? No. Was this in where was
Saudi
this?
Arabia. Saudi Arabia is probably it was in the definitely after September 11th. But I would say probably 2007, 2015, somewhere around that. But supposedly, allegedly, they changed the laws on that, where now, if the woman's being beaten so severely that she has to call her father, and the father has to come over and put a stop to it, that they're going to intervene.
Okay, RJ said that hit the Arabic is like English, the verse read in the literal sense as hit, strike or scourge. There you go. Okay, let's pop this back up here.
And the verse says, "Scourge them." Scourge. Does anybody? I mean, a lot of folks don't understand the true meaning of scourge. Did anybody?
Well, that's what happened to Christ. He was scourged.
Yeah,
so
exactly. That's
scourge means you have like a whip, and you have stones or glass.
It has bones on the end of it, of the flails. Yes. And it hooks into your skin when you pull it back, and it rips your skin off your body. Yeah, that's scourging. And it pulls your veins out. Yeah, and all that good stuff. That's scourging. People, just in case you didn't understand what that was.
Yeah, a quick point here, just to expand quickly, if I can, on that issue of Muhammad's sexual exploits, if we can call it that, with these little girls. I looked up a report, and this report studied the issues surrounding Koresh and his molestation of little girls. And I just want to read a very short part so you can see clearly the similarity between what cults, modern day cults, do and what Muhammad did. David Koresh told them only he was to be referred to as their father. Girls as young as 10 or 11 were given plastic stars of David, signifying that they had the light and were ready to have sex with the cult leader. The report depicts an insular religious community of many contradictions. Although men and women were strictly segregated, does that remind you of something? Although men and women were strictly segregated, Dr. Perry writes that the children told him Mr. Koresh had wives as young as 10 or 11, routinely discussing sex openly, even with the youngest girls. So, notice what it says. It says that there's a contradiction. The men and women are segregated strictly. Isn't that what we see in Islam? Strictly segregated. But one man is able to discuss sex and with the little girls, and he's able to have them available to him for sex. I'm telling you, if you study this thing, you'll see that the resemblance between the cults and Muhammad are uncanny.
It sounds like to me like that'd be an easy paper to write. Compare and contrast the Davidian or the branch Davidians to Islam, and show us the similarities. Well, there you go. Show us the differences. One believes in Jesus Christ. Well, of course, Koresh thought he was Jesus Christ reincarnate. Oh, wait a second. Muhammad changed that out to himself too. All right, let's.
Yes, Muhammad. What I'm learning now is that Muhammad actually gave himself 99 names. So Allah has 99 names, and Muhammad has 99 names. I mean, you can say anything you want about God, but Muhammad, as somebody said earlier, I think it was Dr. Rad who said that they deify Muhammad.
Right.
So what's the difference? Just like David Koresh, who said he was Jesus Christ, Muhammad is their God just the same.
So somebody was on here. I'm not sure. Maybe it was John Isaac, or maybe it was Adam, or somebody was saying that, okay, the 99 names of Allah, if you recite the 99 names of Allah, kind of using like Catholic prayer beads, I guess is how they do. Am I correct on this? Somebody give me a yes or no on that.
Not sure on the beads, but yeah, if they recite the 99 names of Allah, they get all kinds of blessings.
Okay, all right. So they changed the 99 name, and then you're supposed to get full forgiveness of your sins when you do this, to an extent, I guess. But anyway, they changed the 99 names of Allah. So if they changed the 99 names of Allah, what happened to those people who were using the 99 names prior to the change? Were all of their sins forgiven if they in fact were changed, or do they have to go back and get re-forgiven because they didn't have the right names? Or so when we start talking about this 99 name shtick, you're absolutely right. I mean, Allah's got 99 names. Of course, Muhammad's got to have 99 names. It's sick. Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to say about this before I move on? Because I'm going on to a culture of abuse.
Let me just say,
I guess I was going to say, I guess the simple answer. Oh, I was just going to say, I guess the simple answer would have been something like,
one of these lives has a future, and one of them does not.
Oh, that's what movie is that from?
That's The Matrix, dude.
Yeah, right. Okay, right. Okay. All right,
I've seen The Matrix. I've seen all three of the Matrixes.
Have you seen the fourth one? No, I gave that. You fell asleep. The fourth one's good. Somebody mute somebody. I'm echoing.
Let me see. Ed's not muted. Ed, there we go.
Mute him again.
No, he's done.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's better. Whoa, no, hold on.
Dude, yeah, I'd say it's you. You sound terrible. I'm kidding. Good Lord, Brad. I'm just kidding. You sounded fine. Maybe it's your own system. It's going off in his head. He can't stop. Okay, so let's jump back to this. All right. Okay, so Muhammad created a culture abusive to women. When we look at, I have not seen that. This is the hadith that we were referring to before, where Aisha brings this poor little woman to Muhammad and says, look, I have not seen the women suffering as the believing women. Look, her skin is greener than her clothes. And what did Muhammad do? Nothing. He said nothing. He did nothing. She made the guy made the excuse. Her husband made the excuse. Well, she calls me impotent, and I'm not impotent. Look, I have a couple sons. Well, maybe you got those sons from somebody else, 20 years ago. But that's why he beat her, is because she called him impotent.
Well, clearly Aisha is an Islamophobe.
Well, Muhammad doesn't. His God doesn't seem to know that impotence is not something you're born with, that it can happen at any point in your life. And this just shows how intelligent Allah and his prophet are.
Well, why didn't he just take a Viagra or something? I mean, what the heck? What's wrong with you?
Or some kind of aphrodisiac that might have helped him.
Something. Well, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go.
Brother, the camel here. Well,
oh my
gosh. He had
gosh.
sex with all his wives. Actually, let me just read this real quickly. I just Googled Saudi Arabian husband beats wife to death. Wow. A Saudi Arabian brutally kills wife 1 week after wedding. Saudi husband tortured wife to death in shocking homicide. Husband beats wife to death for defying orders. Saudi man executed, this is a good thing, for burning wife to death. Okay?
What?
Yeah, he burned her to death. Man kills Saudi Arabia. Man kills newly married wife by smashing her head in. Breaking the silence. Saudi beheads man for beating wife to death. Well, that's a good thing. Yeah, I mean, it's over 40,900,000 hits on this. But yeah, Yeah, it's a lovely place, dude. The kingdom, yeah, it's a wonderful place. Anyway, continue on. I'm sorry.
No, it's just sad. I mean, and we start talking about this culture that's abusive towards women. Go ahead.
While we're on this, so there's another article out, and it happened here in the States. Iraqi immigrant gets 26 years to life for killing wife in California. So again,
that was one of the things that popped up. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So this is in CBS News. It's only from 2014, and it was just from a simple Google search. Actually, I don't use Google. I use DuckDuckGo. But so the California judge sentenced an Iraqi immigrant Monday to 26 years to life in prison for his wife's fatal beating. Okay, Qasim Amidi, 50 years old, entered the courtroom bound and surrounded by deputies because of his previous outbursts that repeatedly disrupted the emotional trial. I swear I'm not guilty, because they don't understand what they did was wrong because it's allowed. Sure, and that is exactly what Eric is saying.
Right. Okay, but look at what this Jason. Is this the Jason Bourne guy? This guy's a troll. I mean, look what he says here in chat. Don't Americans do the same thing? There's 1,000 new articles for us Americans as well. This is true. This is true, but we don't say that God told us we could do it. I mean, do you have any sense of proportionality by making a statement like that or saying something like it? Just makes you sound like a fool. I mean, seriously, get a grip, dude. What a
Well, it's called deflection.
Nice. Okay, I need to be nice.
He's deflecting because he doesn't have a leg to stand on. Because we will attack those who do these things, but Mr. Troll here has to. The only way he can protect his profit is by turning attention someplace else.
Sure,
because there's nothing there.
But look what we do have. I mean, if we want to sit here and talk about Christianity, let's take a look at what we do have here. Look what we do here. Look what Paul taught us in Colossians. Husbands, love your wives and be not bitter against them. Ephesians, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church. And look at this part right here. And gave himself. What did Christ do for the church? What did Christ do for his people? He died for them.
We are to die for our wives, not kill them.
Exactly. So men ought to love their wives as their own bodies, that he loveth his wife, loveth himself. And look what Peter says, give honor unto the wives as they're being heirs together. Men do not have rights over women because they provide for them. You have your heirs together in what you sow, in what you make. So
there's more to those verses. For no one, there's more to those verses. For no one. No one ever hates his own body. That's why we're to love our wives as our own bodies. No one ever hates their own body. Okay, unless you're mentally ill. Okay. Another point. I don't know if you're going to bring this up, but one of the most beautiful verses I find in there, when treating wives, is simply this. Okay, wives and husbands. Okay, all right. Basically, separate yourselves, but only for a mutual time, so as not to be tempted by the devil. But come together, right? Come back together immediately. Now, this can be interpreted a number of ways, either through prayer and fasting, or when you get into a fight. Okay, yeah, okay. Separate yourselves, right? Okay. But then come back together so as not to be tempted by the devil. For the wife's body no longer belongs to her, but to the husband. And likewise, the husband's body no longer belongs to him, but belongs to the wife. Okay? So this is a mutual agreement, okay, that we are to have. Not, well, your wife's just your tilth, dude. It's your dirty field, you can go plow it, but after you get done plowing it, baby, sex farm worker, ooh, yeah, let me be your hired hand. After you get doing that, make sure you go clean yourself with some clean dirt after you rolled in that dirty dirt of a woman. I'm just saying, ooh, yeah. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I wanna share something else with you guys. Listen to this now. This is Aisha's account of her first sexual encounter with Muhammad. She says that my mother, Roman, came to me while I was playing in a swing with some of my girlfriends. She called me and I went to her, not knowing what she wanted to do to me. She caught me by the hand and made me stand at the door of the house. I was breathless then, and when my breath became all right, she took some water and rubbed my face and head with it. Then she took me into the house. There in the house, I saw some Ansari women. So other women are involved in this thing. Best wishes and Allah's blessings and good luck. Then she entrusted me to them and they prepared me for the marriage. Unexpectedly, Allah's apostle came to me in the forenoon and my mother handed me over to him. So her mother is involved in this whole abuse.
Yep.
And at that time, I was a girl of 9. This is after she's married. And this is Sahih Bukhari, volume 5, book 58, number 234. Now listen to this one now. Listen to this. This is an interview with a Texas social worker who spoke with a little girl who was in the Koresh cult.
A Texas social worker? Oh, hold on.
We asked her if she could think of any reason that any of the children at the compound would not be safe. As we got into this discussion, she brought up the topic of sexual abuse. So the little girl that they're interviewing brought up sexual abuse. She described herself as special. So interesting, this little girl considered herself special and treated differently than other children. She talked of spending time alone with David, and even though she was scared, she felt privileged. She explained to us that on one occasion, when she was 10 years old, her mother left her in a motel room with David Koresh. And I won't go into the graphic details because she spoke about exactly what happened. But you see that the parallel. Her mother is involved in the abuse. Her mother gives her over to this man. And she feels privileged because this is a man of God. I mean, it's amazing how similar the cases are.
Yeah, what ended up happening to that place again? Refresh my memory.
The United States government went in there and burnt the place to the ground and killed everybody. Wicked, evil American government, just saying.
Yeah, I remember seeing something like a battering ram going in and then big, huge flames going up everywhere, and it was gone in a matter of minutes.
Well, when you read the report, you can see that Koresh was he knew that he was breaking laws. He knew that he was abusing little girls. He knew that there were other illegal things going on in there. So he was preparing it. And it seemed that the place was booby-trapped. So when the government went in, they were even discussing using cyanide to kill themselves. There was a plan to commit suicide if the government came in.
Sorry to interrupt you, George, but I've done extensive research on this David Koresh thing, only because it was under Clinton and his DOG. They screwed the whole thing up. I mean, they actually caused this thing. It didn't have to happen. They could have arrested David Koresh at any time because he was coming into town. I mean, no, they did this deliberately. They got a bunch of FBI agents killed. They wanted to be this glorious raid and stuff. They screwed this up. But I remember watching this. I remember them reading off what David Koresh was saying about the fire is going to come down, blah, blah. And these commentators, I think it was on CNN, they're like, well, he can't really believe this stuff. I'm like, we're about to find out if he believes it. Because if he believes it, that whole place is going to burn up. They're going to set fires. And sure enough, he actually believed in the bullshit he was saying because they burned them all alive. But at that point, where else are you going to go? You know what I mean? But no, this man was a wicked and evil man. He was a false prophet. And unfortunately, and there are still people to this day, they still believe. They actually, those that came out, there was a great documentary on this on A&E. Those that came out, okay, that left because they could leave. Those that left, okay, they actually regret leaving. They wish they would have died with him because they feel that they are no longer the chosen. That they had this part of this thing that they could have been in heaven, and because they did not have faith, they did not believe. They walked out and went into the government's hands, the FBI's hands, the great Satan. You know what I mean? Okay. And,
okay. Who pulled the trigger, Rad? Who pulled the trigger?
Who pulled the trigger on what?
On
Who set the fires?
Yeah.
See, that's you know what, they could go honestly, dude. There are witnesses that say that they were setting the fires. Okay, there are other witnesses that are saying that it was the government that set the fires. I actually believe he set the fires. Okay, and it just it just caught him up. But there are conflicting reports. But honestly, because he was talking about they were going to all burn up and flat and fire and flame and everything. Yeah, he set the fire. That's my thing. I'm not going to be Kenny saying
I will back Rad up 100% on that, because I had to do some research on it because I was getting recruited into a militia and they used a particular video that I could see distortions of the video. And so I checked it out, and yes, there are conflicting reports. So
okay,
that's not a question.
From what I understand, he had lots of some type of fuel in there, which is why it went up so fast.
Oh yeah, well, plus it's in Waco, Texas. Humidity 0%, and everything's dry, and boom, torch it.
I mean, I watched it on TV. I was watching it on TV live. Yeah.
But we're getting off topic.
I remember watching it live too. Just the pure horror of it. You're thinking, okay, now they just can't actually. I mean, there's the federal government. This is the FBI, right? I mean, these are the guys that were running the operation. They cannot. I mean, the kids, the people are going to come running out somehow. They have an exit, and I'm watching and waiting for this. Because I mean, they wouldn't just let them burn to death, right?
No, they were already in an underground area.
I know this is this is the point I'm trying to make. I just and you don't, and then it doesn't happen, and you're just
your heart was crying when you watched
God,
this.
I just it was just sad, and I just could not believe that this was happening live on national television. I remember it clear as day, and it just. But this is what in Georgia, you're spot on. If you compare this type of cultic type belief and behavior, this is exactly what you get, and people justify it. And who was saying? Was that you? Rather saying that people still today feel bad that they didn't. I didn't know that, but I don't find it. I don't find it hard to believe. Okay. Anybody have anything else to say about that? Want to say something?
Oh yeah. Well, go ahead and check out the A&E. Go look it up. A&E, the David Koresh documentary. They actually have all the audio. Well, not all the audio, but all the audio where they're talking to David Koresh and stuff like that, and the FBI agents and witnesses and everybody that was there that survived. And there are people to this day who will say, "I feel left out. I feel like I missed the train."
Okay. All right, so let's go back to Muhammad's treatment of women. He said that they were intellectually deficient. It says, "Oh, you, the assembly of women, give alms, as I seen that the majority of the dwellers in hell fire were you, women." They asked, "Why is that so? Oh, Allah's messenger." He replied, "You curse frequently, and you are ungrateful to your husbands. I have not seen anyone more deficient in intelligence and religion than you. A cautious, sensible man could be led astray by some of you." The woman asked, "Oh, Allah's messenger, what is deficient in our intelligence and religion?" He says, "Is not the witness of two women equal to the witness of one man?" They replied, "Yeah, that's true." He said, "This is deficiency of your intelligence, don't you see?"
We know what's funny about this passage, Eric, is this is an example. This is an example of circular reasoning, which actually is used to define mental illness. So
yes,
and this is Muhammad's. It's a testimony that Muhammad said this. It's declared Sahih. So we now have a Sahih statement that Muhammad is mentally ill. And part of that mental illness is using circular reasoning to talk about how evil women are.
Yeah, I agree with Paul. I agree with what Paul is saying. But there's another point that I think we need to see. It was part of Arab culture. Because remember, he refers to this idea about women's testimony. And they were obviously already familiar with the idea that it takes two women to agree to counteract or to be equal to a man's testimony. So that suggests to me that this was a part of Arab culture at that time, a paternalistic culture. So yes, I agree that he was mentally ill, and there are other things that prove that your point is correct, Paul. But I think we're also seeing the ancient Arab culture being imposed on everyone as something from God.
I don't believe it's actually ancient Arab culture, because he had already given the ruling beforehand. This is a reference to his previous ruling rather than to Arab culture, because he's already stated that he's just referring to himself, not to Arab culture.
Okay, he's referring to what he was teaching, his teachings.
Well, just to be completely fair here, we have to remember the testimony of women in ancient Jewish culture also, and why when we look at the testimony of the women in the resurrection of Christ, how that is, what do they call that type of evidence, where it comes from the least likely people that you would trust, and yet it's there in the New Testament. What's that called? I can't remember the name.
I have no idea what scripture are you talking about here.
Okay, I'm talking about the women, Mary, when they went to discover the tomb, and they came back
yes,
with
sir.
the disciples.
Okay.
Okay, why are you going to believe?
Am I wrong?
Why are you going to believe? What's that?
Exculpatory, is that the wrong
Not
word?
exculpatory. It's
yeah, but that's but what they said about the women, okay, you're going to take their witness, right? That's not a word to take, and I know you're not saying that, but just to clarify it, that's not a word that you take biblical. Oh, okay, we have to have that same mindset, which is wrong. See what I mean?
Well, I agree, but the thing is that it was
first.
It was the first testimony of the resurrection of Christ came from women.
Exactly. Who could be them crazy women, dude?
Right, and and because they wouldn't allow in ancient Jewish culture. But as you can see in Christian culture, as the Christian culture developed, you can see that today in Western civilization,
God used women.
Right, exactly, and you have the full inclusion, the inclusivity of women in Western culture today, where you still do not have that in Saudi Arabia. I mean, you can't even drive a car if you
they changed that.
They
changed that. Yes, they changed that.
Okay, they finally women drive cars. Okay, fine.
See that Islam is so progressive. It's so progressive. They finally allow women to drive cars.
Well, it's getting there. I mean, at least it's not. I mean, and they played the first movie. You know what the first movie they played in Saudi Arabia? It was the Marvels. No, it's one of the Marvels movie with the beautiful black race. I forgot what that movie's called.
Oh, Wakanda?
Hey, Ed. What was that movie called?
Black Panther.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that was the first movie they played. I believe last year or previous to that year.
All filmed in Wakanda, Illinois.
Yeah, I love that movie. I love that movie. That man passed away. The Black Panther. He passed away last year. He sure did. Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Yeah,
Criteria of embarrassment. Thank you, Slam. I appreciate. That's what it was. Criteria of embarrassment. That's what I was. It would be embarrassing. Why would it's embarrassment to say that women were the first ones to discover the empty tomb. So by using that standard, you can say, well, if they were really making this up, they would have men discovering that tomb first. So that's what. Thank you for reminding me of that. Because sometimes you know these terms and you know what you're supposed to be saying, and then you poof, you just.
It's called getting old.
Poof.
It's called what?
Eric, poof.
It's called getting old.
Who are you calling old, George?
Eric's a big bad super trooper. He's a big bad super trooper.
We all are.
Paratrooper, jump out of airplanes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And he gets taken out by ping pong. He gets taken out by ping pong. Just saying.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to tell you. I was telling Rad today we were playing. We had that game night at the church last night, and I am just stiff as a board. I mean, I did it last year, and I should have known better. I wasn't right for 3 days. So last night when they were having the tournament in the semifinal, I just said I'm done. I already played like 3 rounds, and I said I'm not gonna do that to myself. And today I'm still.
Take a hot bath with that Epsom salts and soak in it for like 35, 40 minutes.
Just have a shot of
It's
bourbon.
so
You're done with
good. Or that. Or that.
Have a shot of
Coke.
bourbon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or that.
Either way. Okay.
A bath is better. I recommend.
Yeah, I would agree with Connie.
Epsom salts.
Well, can't I do both though? I mean, that's the question.
Sure, yeah. Knock yourself out, man.
There you go. Okay, it's haram or halal for me. Okay, so let's intellectually deficient and look at the religiously deficient. And this is basically the same story, but this one's told by Bukhari 304. Okay, this is basically the same story, but when we look at it from a religious point of view. A woman can neither be nor observe during. See, okay, a woman can't pray during her menses, during when she's having a period. So you're basically saying the same exact thing, that women are intellectually and religiously deficient.
And which I learned this from my ex, is you can't take the shahada if you're on your period.
Yeah,
I mean, you know,
why would God make you that way if that's
right?
the truth? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense at all.
Because Allah doesn't know anything about women.
Evidently,
He is Satan.
One of the same.
Allah is Satan.
Okay, and here it says in a different Sahih hadith where it says, "I have not seen any more deficient in intelligence and religion." Says at the same time, and women are the hell dwellers of hell, raping women.
You see what he does, though, Eric, if I may?
Go ahead.
You know, they, instead of saying, you know, where the bad influence is coming from, which is Satan, right, in the garden, they want to throw it on the women. They never want to claim, you know, the beginning wrongdoing that was from Satan himself. So they throw it on the women because Islam is of Satan and he's not going to expose himself.
You know, I've had that discussion before of, okay, so in a lot of, you know, it's easy to say that, okay, this is, I mean to divert the topic here, but what you said is, in my opinion, and from if you analyze what was taught, what Muhammad taught, I think any person using approaching this objectively, when you say that, okay, Muhammad is denying the crucifixion of Christ. He denies that it ever even happened. And when you think about it, what is the very one, and I've said this several times on the show, what is the very one thing that saves us from our sins? And it is the death,
shedding of the blood, yes.
Right, the death, burial, resurrection of Christ. That's the one thing. And trusting that and asking God for forgiveness, and that sacrifice satisfies that price that God demands.
Amen.
For our sins. Okay. Now, if I was to say, okay, yeah, Jesus was he was born of a virgin. He worked all of these miracles. He was the Messiah. He had great teaching. He did all of these wonderful things. But if I'm Satan, I'm going to attribute all of these things to Christ. I'm going to say that he was a great prophet. Okay, he was a great teacher, and people should follow him. Yeah. And he had all these great things But that one thing, you know, that one very thing, that thing that where he died for your sins, that, you know, that
defeated Jesus, that defeated Satan.
Right. You were just, that one thing that defeats me.
There you go.
That never happened.
Amen.
That never.
Brother.
So when I say that, we start saying that, you know, we don't say that pejoratively, saying that Islam is from Satan.
Right.
We say this based on an objective approach to what Islam teaches. If you are going to say that Christ, the Son of God, did all of these great things, and you're going to ascribe to him all of these great things, and you are going to put him up on this pedestal like Christians do, but then take away the very one thing, what was his purpose for coming in the first place, the very one thing that saves you from that eternal damnation of God. If you're going to take that away, if I was saying, that's exactly what I would do.
Yes.
And so when we start saying that it is from, and then we start looking at all these other things, like we are today, that are byproducts of that, it becomes quite clear if you think of this objectively. Go ahead, George. I'm sorry.
Yes, it's called deception because, as you rightly point out, they do have some elements in there of who we know Jesus is. Born of a virgin, did miracles, raised the dead, etc. They do have some things in there, but I maintain, and in my discussion with the Muslims, I point out to them that Isa of the Quran is not Jesus Christ of the Bible.
No,
Could
you're
never
absolutely
be.
right. Absolutely right. Yeah.
Isa, first of all, in Arabic, the name for Jesus is Yesu.
Right.
The name Yesu appears nowhere in Islamic literature. They don't know who this person is. They use the name Isa. Isa is not Jesus Christ. The differences are amazing. So clearly, this is a fictional character created by Muslims. I'm not even sure if all of it was created by Muhammad. It probably was, or some of it was. But this Isa character is a fictional character created by liars, and I'm going to be very strong on this, by liars under the influence of Satan. Isa's not a real person.
Yes.
They say he's a Muslim.
Another Jesus and another spirit.
Well, the Jesus of the Quran is nothing more of an excuse for Muhammad, is all he is.
Exactly.
I mean, everything that he does is
prop
up Muhammad, right?
An opposition against the true Yeshua HaMashiach.
Well, Slam points it out perfectly here.
Islam is an antichrist religion.
Yeah. Okay.
Slam RN, nurse.
Just one more point before I shut up.
Yeah.
Another interesting thing is that they say that Isa was a Muslim. Jesus of the Quran is a Muslim. Now, I mean, Eric laughs because it's so obviously stupid. Isa, this Jesus character that they translate in their Quran as Jesus in English, was a Muslim. But everyone knows that he was a first century Jew. Went to synagogue, never went on the Hajj, never went to a mosque. So clearly, this Isa is a fictional character.
Well, we know that for multiple reasons. One of those being that the genealogy is totally messed up because they have Isa as the nephew of Moses. So it's, if it's that simple, that's why it's fictional. Well, because this guy who wrote this book, if it's Allah, he's the book known as Clear as Mud.
What Muslim has ever been the savior of the world, like Jesus said? None.
Well, I'm still waiting for them to explain how, using their book, how does this Isa that they're explaining, I mean, where did they get this record of the nephew of Moses doing these miracles? Because I don't remember seeing anything in the book of Exodus about somebody doing miracles during Moses' time, because he would have had to live during Moses' time.
Paul, honestly, a lot of this stuff when they talk about Old Testament stuff in the Quran, they're not talking about the Old Testament that we read. They're talking about Talmudic stuff. Okay, seriously, they're talking about the Oratorah. So the Muslim might be able to find something in the Talmud or something like that where it relates sort of to that. Now, I'm saying that that's completely wrong, completely false. But I've noticed this, dude. Dude, I'm sorry. If you read the Quran actually specifically says that the Jews are selling them scripture for a measly price. That's kind of a strange kind of a thing. And then you read the hadiths and stuff like that. In the Surat literature, what was happening was these Jews were having a field day with this dude. They're selling him Talmud stuff and they're corrupting it, okay? All right, and they're selling it because he's supposed to be a prophet. He should know this, and yet he's coming in to buy this stuff. And they're like, "Yeah, see, he's not a prophet. We told him that this was this, and he doesn't know."
Well,
you know what I mean?
He's picking up what we would call today Gnostic scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
He quotes from them in the Quran. So he's, it's
Well,
a
it's Christ being
demonstration of
born.
lack of knowledge.
Christ being able to be born, speaking from the cradle, making clay, all that is Gnostic literature. One thing I wanted to point out why Muhammad was the Quran is theologically incoherent. If he says that in chapter 3 of the Quran, Paul's absolutely right. It gives the chronology, the genealogy from Imran, and then Imran has a daughter, Mary, not Maryam. Mary, or Miriam. Okay, so what he's doing is he's confusing Miriam and Mary. Okay, and then Miriam, right from that genealogy, goes to Jesus. So there's no skipping. There's no confusion. It's clear as day. Not clear as mud. Clear as day is what it's right there. This is on chapter 3. Now, the reason why it's theologically incoherent. What was the Davidic covenant about?
Wrong tribe.
Exactly. The Davidic covenant said that.
And this is a woman saying this. I'm a woman saying this, right?
Exactly.
Deficient. Right? I'm deficient, man. In religion.
Right. Yes, well, I'm not going there. I'm not going to touch that one. But what I'm saying here is that if you could screw anything up, this would be it. Because what you're doing is you're saying, okay, well, the Messiah, they said that Jesus is the Messiah. Well, he comes from the tribe of Levi because that's exactly who Aaron and Moses was. That's the Levitical tribe, not the tribe of Judah. That's the Davidic. David was from the tribe of Judah, and God said that the Messiah would come from his tribe. So even there, he screws it up. So this, when we start talking about it being
because what it comes down to is then they would have to say nice things about Jews because they're saying nice things about this imaginary Isa.
Yeah.
Oh, so good, man! That was tasty, Paul. Thank you.
It's just so. I don't know. I mean, there's so many problems with it, and they're so confident. They're so confident. Oh well, we know that the Bible is wrong. It was corrupted.
Wow.
When you. It's just, I don't know.
That their Quran
you cannot
over and over again.
Stupid. You cannot fix that blind adherence to the lie.
That's right.
What are you doing there, John? What is this? Comrade in thief. Let's go, Brandon.
And it's pink. I love it.
Hey, can you share that scripture I put up? It's along the same lines as the theme. I'm sorry.
Put what up, Paul?
I put up.
I opened up the story.
Dr. Kufarphobia and I have been doing this thing where we're going through the Quran verse by verse, and I shared a piece here. I think you can see it.
Where is it?
Pull that up.
Is it in private chat or where?
No, I shared it through stream.
Just now?
No, it's been up. I'll do it again.
Okay, because I don't. I'm looking.
Okay.
Don't see it. Don't see it.
Well, let's try it again. All right, I'll try it again. But it's the same because Dr. Kufarphobia and I have been pulling on this and talking about this. Here, I'll hit share again. Can you see it now?
Oh, there you are. Yeah, it's in the stream. Why didn't you say so?
That's what I did.
I know. I'm kidding. All right, I screwed it up. All right,
okay.
Okay. Why isn't this coming? Can you guys see that? Hold on. Let me do it again.
I know why. Hold on a minute. I'm sorry. That's my fault. All right, I'll go back. I have to go back to it. That is my fault. Okay. Sorry about that. Here we go. All right. Try again.
Okay. There we go. All right.
So Surah 5:6, and if you were sick or traveling, and if one of you has relieved himself, now again, this is equating touching women to taking a crap. If you have touched the women, so you did not find water, so rub your faces and your hands with good dirt. And that basically,
that's clean dirt as opposed to dirty dirt. I'm just saying, because there's a difference.
Jeez. How ridiculous is that? How ridiculous.
Oh, by the way, one of the things I'm having a good laugh with, Dr. Kufarphobia keeps pointing this one out. He keeps pointing out that when they refer to a concept of heaven, it's really a desert concept of heaven, because they don't have an idea that water can be above ground, that a river can be above ground. I never cease to be amazed at that.
The first meal in heaven is going to be the lobes of fish liver. Okay,
Right.
They don't got a lot of fish. Okay, in the Saudi Arabian desert. So yeah, I'm sure fish of any kind would be a delicacy.
Yes.
Not to mention the lobes of fish liver. But I'm thinking, you know what? If it ain't prime rib in heaven, I know I'm in the wrong place. I'm just saying, dude.
Love steak.
I was thinking pork chop myself.
I look at.
Oh, there you go too. Either way, prime pork. Yeah, okay. Either way, pork loin.
There's nothing like the spare ribs.
Spare ribs.
It can't be heaven without that.
Eric, I think the biggest thing that we have to think about when we think about the Islamic treatment of women, and I'm blaming Islam. I'm not blaming Muslims. I'm blaming the ideology of Islam.
Sure.
Because they are preaching these scriptures that treat women as junk. In fact, when you go to I've gone to my students' houses where I go to speak to a parent, and I'm not allowed to speak to the woman who is the living parent. I have to speak to the older son who can talk to his mommy, and his mommy can talk to him, and then, and legally, I'm not allowed to talk to the older son. I'm allowed to talk to the adult. So this creates legal issues within even communities where you're.
Wow.
Yeah. So
really?
I don't know if you've ever had to do that, Eric, but when I've gone to, because legally, when you are communicating to someone, there are only certain people you're allowed to communicate personal things. You're not allowed to go to the older brother. Because the guardian, when we're talking about guardians of children, you have to go to the guardian and communicate. I'm not allowed to, as a non-Muslim man, I'm not allowed to communicate with that woman who is the mother, because the mother actually has a guardian, which is her oldest son. And that's part of the biggest problems I have with Islam is the woman births her guardian. I get that when you're 80s.
That's
brilliant. I get that when you're in your 80s. But then you should be, the children should be taking care of their parents. I have no problem with that.
Well, there's part of this. What I'm going to be going through here is where they can't, you can't leave your home without the supervision of a male guardian. What kind of culture does that to women? It imprisons them. It makes them prisoners in their own homes.
Paul, you brought up a brilliant thing. There are actually cases where the woman's guardian is an 8-year-old child in modern day Islamic countries. Controls money. Okay, controls everything.
Yeah, these are actually highly documented. You can find them in case law.
Yes.
And I've been talking about this for about 10 years now, unfortunately.
So Islam sucks if you're a woman. I'm just saying, you know what? Stay away from Islam.
Somebody tell me. I'm still waiting for someone to tell me what a woman gets out of Islam besides slavery, besides being indebted to the first male that comes along.
She can go outside the house. She doesn't have to worry about doing her hair because she can just hide it in a job. Doesn't have to worry about putting on makeup because she can put on the face mask. Well, everybody's doing the face mask thing. Doesn't have to worry about brushing her teeth because she got the face mask on. So yeah, no, there are kind of benefits of that. Actually, David Wood has a couple great videos on this, where he talks about where he's met these Muslima reverts who are wearing the hijab or wearing the abaya now, and they state this. I am tired of being, every time I go out, I got to look my best. I got to look my prim and proper. When now I have to do that. In other words, the burqa is now the baseball cap. Okay, they don't, because honestly, and this is Western culture. We have totally sexualized women, especially at a young age. We've done what Islam does to them. But where women, have to be constantly, look their best whenever they go out in public. And no, that's just not the case. You know what I'm saying? Or they think they have to do this, but I'm like, no, you don't really have to. Don't really care. But either way.
I don't think Connie would complain about having to look well groomed when she goes out on the street. I don't think so.
Yeah, I look presentable, but I don't, do the makeup and all that stuff. I'm beautiful the way I am.
Exactly. Well,
you know what, Connie? You are beautiful.
Sir?
We don't. I like women who don't, and it's my. I don't care. Human beings are just beautiful in their own. God made you beautiful. I'm sorry.
Amen.
You don't need to. I'm not going to say some women don't need makeup, and I'm not going to say some men don't need makeup. But God made you beautiful just the way you are. So I suggest that you do use things like toothpaste and deodorant.
Not if you're wearing the hijab, not if you're wearing the face burqa, not if you're wearing seriously. Actually, there's a great meme that says if you are wearing a mask now out in public, I'm going to assume two things. One, you're not wearing makeup, and two, you didn't brush your teeth. Okay, you know what I mean? Okay, because that's you know what I'm saying. But no, seriously, actually, I'm going to open up a strip club. It's called Bare Naked Faces. Okay, fully clothed women, but their face mask is off. I'm serious. We'll make a lot of money. Invest in me. I'm going to do a GoFundMe. Anyway, point being is this: Islam.
All right, I'll donate to it.
I go to the supermarket, and when I go, I see many women uncovered, and I don't feel like jumping them. I don't feel like jumping women just because their face is uncovered. So why do we have to put them in a garbage bag? It just doesn't make sense to me.
That's what it is, a garbage bag.
Okay. How did we get off on that? But that's okay. That's why we're a discussion group. We can have these deep discussions. Let's see. Makeup what does Cherokee Gypsy say here? Marriage should only be used to enhance what God already gave you, and we're proud of that. Chris Claus said, he told us, I didn't read this. I should be careful. Let's see. She wants to wear makeup. For her, that's fine, but I love the way she is. Like a good husband.
That is
you would say that.
Husband.
It's a good husband. Okay, let's get back to Muhammad's treatment of women. We got about another 10 minutes left in the show. Okay, he allowed his men to rape. Whoops, what did I happen? What did I do? Uh-oh. Okay, hold on just a second here. Stop screen. There. No, I was using somebody else's screen. There we go. That's why. No. Sorry, folks.
Okay.
You would think that I would have this down pat by now, but
there you go.
There we go. All right. So he allowed and encourages men to rape women. And how do we know this? Well, he said, all married women are forbidden unto you, which should be the way it should be. And if you're married, except who's this? Save for those captives whom your right hand possesses. So those women that you capture in battle, well, you can do to them whatever you want to. And they're usually infidel women to begin with. What do we have here? We have another one. Let's see. This is Surah 23, 1 through 6, and it says, "Saved from their wives or the slaves that their right hand possesses." So you have the God of the universe codifying sexual slavery.
Yep.
Way to go,
That's
Allah.
by Pixel. That's by Pixel
and
too.
we got another. The case you didn't get it in chapter 23, it says it down here. In chapter 70, save the wives and those whom your right hand possesses. So there you go. So Allah is saying, hey, you can have sex slaves. Then we get over here to Bukhari. We received captives from the Arab captives, and we desired women. And then it talks about, I'm not going to get into it anyway. There's no person that's destined to exist that will come into existence. So if you rape your sex slave, if you're raping your sex slave, well, that's okay if she gets pregnant in the process, because why? There's no person destined to exist that but will come into existence. So that's okay with Allah. Let's go to another hadith. Sahih Muslim. Sahih says they captured some female prisoners, and it was if the companions of the messenger of Allah felt reluctant to have intercourse with them because what? Their husbands were there.
You're right.
Yeah, that really bothers me. We just slaughtered everybody else from your village, but hey, your husband's here, so what do we do? Well, then Allah, the mighty and sublime, revealed, also forbidden are women already married, except those slaves whom your right hand possesses. So this gives an excuse to...
didn't Muhammad stop slavery? And but Allah is enforcing slavery. Yeah, go ahead and make them your slaves.
This is a commission to commit an act of rape.
Yes,
it is. You're exactly, and this and okay, and don't forget, Paul. Don't forget who is providing the justification for committing an act of rape.
Allah.
Who would that be?
Could that be Muhammad and Allah, his minion?
His shirt.
No, this is
his puppet.
Well, we'd say a sock puppet.
Sock puppet. There you go. Yeah,
this is from the Quran. This is
Sahih Muslim.
Look at here. Surah.
Allah.
This is from the Quran. So obviously Allah is providing justification to rape your sex slaves. So when we start saying, it's evil,
and make sex slaves,
right? And enslave people, capture them in battle, and then you can enslave them. And that's exactly what Muhammad did. When we start getting to this idea that Muhammad didn't have anything, and Islam ends slavery, and this is, what's really sad is they sell this. I mean, if you start listening to people that are in the Nation of Islam, I mean, this is one of their greatest complaints or grievances is, of course, the perpetuation of slavery upon the African race, bringing them to, enslaving them, and then, the Europeans enslaving them and bringing them to the Americas and keeping them as slaves. And Islam, it is Islam that does not allow for this. When the fact of the matter is actually the opposite is true.
Mm-hmm.
It is Christian. The abolitionist movement across the globe was a Christian movement. It wasn't an Islamic movement. It was Islam is actually fought the abolitionist movement. Islam actually perpetuates slavery today. It's in a different. If you go to Saudi Arabia, what do? They import, not import. They bring in a lot of Filipino women, Southeast Asian women as maids. They swipe their passports for them and basically treat them as slaves within their own homes. And these women have no recourse of action because they do not have their passport and any type of legal verification of who they are to file formal complaints within Saudi Arabia. And they're raped.
And we do know, historically, we do know that the amount of white slaves far exceeded the amount of black slaves during the time when Islam ruled Spain.
When Islam ruled what? Spain, Andalusia?
Yeah.
Well, I know they went on a lot of slave raids northward along the Mediterranean. I don't know. Where do you get your numbers from? I've never heard that.
The Myth of Andalusia, the Paradise of Andalusia.
I have that book
it's there. That is an outstanding book. That's where you can pick that.
That's Dan Janicek.
Yeah, it's an outstanding book. I've actually connected with him.
What's it called?
Talking.
What's the book called?
The Myth of the Paradise of Andalusia.
Gotta move my pigs. Oh, what do you know what's cool? Oh, look at it. I got them all on the book.
Love that piggy.
I always find it amusing that we both have the same books.
Yeah. Okay. So I was my grandsons were in here. I think it was last night. And they're asking me about why do I have the pig on there? And I was telling them the story about that. And my youngest one says, "Oh, I know where some other pigs are too, Papa." So he runs into the bedroom where we have the toys, and he found me two more. He found me two more little oinkers.
Oh, excellent!
Yes.
Woohoo!
I got a
man. I love that.
I got a whole farrowing house.
Grandson
here.
did good there, man.
Yeah. Okay. This is the book that Paul's talking about right here. Is this the one?
Yeah, that is the Myth of the Andalusian Paradise. Pick it up, please. Pick it up. It is outstanding. You know what I liked? Probably the best thing I liked about that book. It's not that it exposes lies; it exposes. It provides a great deal of primary resources. That's the thing I love about that.
Yeah.
Book. Eric, can you, if you please, write the author's name in the chat so I have it so I can find it? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Dan Janicek. As a matter of fact, he's one of the co-teachers of the class that I'm taking.
Tell him you know me, Eric, because we've been chatting back and forth.
So I can name drop you then. I said, well, Paul Sutton said
thanks
to.
For that, Paul.
Paul's awesome,
Please
man.
put it in the chat. I'd really like to hear about that book because I noticed that Yasser Cardi has been putting out some videos going back to Spain, talking about the glory days of Andalusia. And deifying and even turning the Muslims in Spain, in Andalusia, into some great people. There were such great saints, and it is the Christians who persecuted them and got rid of them and stuff like that. Not at any point admitting that Islam in Spain was a Muslim invasion of Southern Europe. He doesn't mention that at all. So thanks for that, and I hope your book goes into all of these issues, and they shouldn't be giving us the impression that it was the greatest thing that happened to Spain when it was invaded by Muslims.
Okay. Okay. So those. Okay, we had somebody else. I'm sorry, George. I was just reading in the chat where RJ mentions that the Arab slave traders not only went into Andalusia, into Spain, but they also went as far north as England, and this is true. They went all over the coastlines. Slave raiding.
Yeah.
I never went to England. So yeah, that's new to me.
Would you say, Dominic? I didn't hear you.
I never knew they went to England. I always thought they kind of traveled.
And this is actually some of this is actually documented in that book. So I don't remember how far it records in there, but that's one of the reasons, like I said, I love the primary resources. He's a great scholar, Daniel Janicek. So I highly recommend his work. You can go and he has a lot of scholarly articles that are available for free. So I do recommend him.
If you want, and this is what I've done, I made available to people, the resources from these classes. I have my Google Drive. I put the PowerPoints, and I put the videos of the classes in my Google Drive. So if you want access to that Google Drive to download those and use them for your own personal use.
Yes, sir.
On personal use, that's perfectly okay. Just email me, and
is that the other file? Because you got two files now. So is that
no?
I
have a bunch of files there. I just have.
Oh, okay.
I just got to have. If you want access to it, that's fine. I don't have a problem with giving you access, but you have to have a Gmail address, because I don't think if you have a Yahoo. Somebody gave me a Yahoo address, and I tried.
That would have been me at one point.
Okay, that's what it was, because I know that it didn't work for somebody. So if you guys want that, if you want those things, just let me know, and I don't have a problem
doing it. And the reason why through G Drive.
send me an
or
email.
just a couple of them. Yes, sir.
Just
Okay, I will.
just
Yes, sir.
send me an email, and then you can go and I'll give you access to the files, and then you can
PowerPoints.
decide which ones you want.
Great. I appreciate that.
Okay. So send me an email, a Gmail email address, and then I can hook you up with that.
I don't.
Anybody
I don't know your
looking
Gmail.
Connie,
for
you
some
have
of the
Yes, sir.
you have a Gmail address because you
Yes,
already
I
are
do.
accessing. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I see it from there? What your Gmail address is? From inside G Drive?
No, because I only gave you
when he
access to
sends
your
you
file.
when
I got to give you
Right.
access
So
to
how
the
do I
email.
get it?
when he sends you the invite, it is listed on that invite.
Oh, it is. Okay, so I'll
Yes,
check it
okay,
out
yeah.
because
So
I'm
just send
really
me an
new
email
to
to
G
remind
I'm
me
going to
Drive.
offer anybody who wants some of the articles that I've downloaded of Daniel Genovic. I got them for free, and they are scholarly articles. If you're interested, you can contact me on BEREAN_research@yahoo.com. I'll share whatever I have.
That's Berean Research.
Berean_research.
There you go.
Berean, the place where they first called. Berean is the place where they studied the Word of God to check what was in the Bible.
Okay. RJ says also right here that it was. Let's see. Mauritania is especially notorious for its recent. Yeah, I think they just outlawed it like in 1975 or something like that. I'm willing to be wrong on that, but I know it was very recently, as compared to the rest of the world, where everybody else in the world is banned it.
I think they.
Okay. Okay. So the bottom line is that your right hand possesses is essentially means your sex slaves, the women that you captured in battle, and they are the one. I mean, you can do what you want with them. So you have not only it in Sahih Ahadith, but you also have it in the Quran itself. So you have Allah, the God of Muhammad, saying that you can rape sex slaves, you can rape women. Now,
Mauritania, they outlawed it in 1981, and it took till 2007 to make it criminal.
Okay, all right. So I knew it was very recent. I didn't realize it was that recent. Holy cow! 2001,
2007.
7.
Wow.
Holy crap! Wow, that is nasty. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and end it on that note. We can finish this up Tuesday if we want to, or if you guys want to talk about something else on Tuesday, that is fine. Also, I still don't have a topic for them, so if you want to email me, I don't have a problem talking what you want to talk about.
Yeah. Next time, play all my little baby video. I mean, not all of them, but play them all the way through, because the impact
We
is
gotta
always
get-
at the end.
We got to
Brad.
get them uploaded to YouTube where you can pause it or something. So I don't know how he's playing it. But
Oh,
I don't know how it.
Yeah. You're right. I can do that because I
Okay,
haven't
now
done
look,
that yet.
what I can
Yes, sir.
do is I can play them. Hold on, let me do this.
You
'Cause I
can
know y'all
play
complain
on the
about-
screen. That when you see it on the screen, you can actually stop them while they're on the screen. You
No, I think he's playing them through
In
Facebook.
StreamYard?
Yeah.
He's
No,
using
if I
them through.
if I upload them to StreamYard, I
Right.
cannot stop them.
Right.
All right.
So
You gotta play them all
what
the
I
way
have
through.
to do.
Can you at least
gotta
play one
yeah.
of them all the way through before we end?
Yeah, let me.
Just
I'm
at least
bringing it up right
one?
now. I'm doing it right now. Hold on, give me a
Hey,
second.
no, I do appreciate you showing these because I just wanted you to see them because I
What
finally
about-
found them again. That's why I say Islam is murder.
What about a discussion on who murdered Muhammad? I'm still on that because
I know you brought that up last time. I think that would be
Yeah.
a good discussion. I
Yeah,
don't have a lot of
because-
material on that other than he died of poisoning. I guess.
yeah, but Muslims don't believe that.
Right.
They don't believe what?
You know what?
Even though their own most authentic sources say he died from poisoning, their imams, their teachers tell them no, he died of natural causes.
Right.
Yeah, George. What I encounter with that is most Muslims that I interact with are never told how Muhammad died. So when they're confronted with what you're talking about, they make something up.
Absolutely correct.
Okay. All right. I'm going to share. Let me do this. Okay. Everybody mute yourselves. to include me, and we're going to play this video. Okay, here we go.
Muslims themselves, and stop trying to disqualify the fact that the Muslims themselves disagree and you don't get to choose.
Simply asking Parliament. We're simply asking Parliament to make marriage legal after the age of 17. We also want those who break the law to be punished.
اعتداء على جنسيا في ليلة الدخلة كان غصب عني، لأنه كنت أنا وأمه وأخته ومرات أخو جالسين، فمرات أخو خرجت لقيت أمه وأخته، فاعتدى علي كان يقول ما في الله أن أنت الآن كنتي مرتي خلاص.
أمها موجودة كانت لما اعتدى عليك جنسيا؟
أي لأني أمه كانت ماسكالي.
مسكاكي؟
مسكاني هكذا، وأنا طبعا كنت بنا صحيح بس ما في حد بني يجي يساعدني. كنت أبكي، كنت يعني إنه بترجاهم بس ما حد شيء. قالوا خلاص أنت الحين مزوجة، فمن حقك إن أنت تصيحي أو إن أنت ترجعي أي مكان.
Nujud's mother, Samir, believed that the marriage would ease the burden on their family and give her daughter a better life.
كنت أبكي، كنت يعني إنه بترجاهم بس ما حد شيء. قالوا خلاص أنت الحين مزوجة، فمن حقك إن أنت تصيحي أو إن أنت ترجعي أي مكان.
Catching that, she died from it.
Okay, can I say
you, sir.
two quick things? Can I say two quick things? Firstly, even though we see this clip from Connie highlights Yemen, it happens in other Islamic countries.
Excellent, yes.
Including Saudi Arabia. It's just that they do a better job of hiding it than Yemen does. That's the first thing. Okay? The next thing that we need to recognize about this thing with the little girls is that the system in these countries is designed to get them into a man's life as quickly as possible. Why do I say that? Remember, they can't go out and work. In many cases, they cannot be a productive citizen. They can't be a doctor. They can't be a lawyer. They can't be out there earning productively. So the only use that there is for her is to go and have kids for a man. You see the point I'm making? They don't have, they are cut off from supporting themselves economically. They're cut off from supporting themselves economically, so they have to attach themselves to an older man, especially if they want a decent life. You heard what that was said in that video? The mother said, if I give her to this man, it will ease the burden on the family, and she'll get a better life.
Yeah, you know, they don't educate them. You know, they don't let them go through school to educate and then earn a living on their education.
You know, one of the things that I was going to play, let me see if you can see this. I was going to play this video. Well, I'm not going to bring it up, but it was one of there's an interview, quote unquote, that the Imam did with Marshall Gregory. They did this probably about a year and a half ago, maybe. And one of the things that was said was, well, every day is Mother's Day in Islam. And I thought, how disgusting is that? You know, and the reason why is, well, the women get the children. You know, if when they're divorced, the women automatically get the children. It's simply not true.
Actually, no,
because
that's
if it
not
was a
true.
Christian,
It goes to the father. Yeah.
I am
right?
true.
If it's
They kidnap the children, even in America. They
right.
kidnap
Well, if it's
children,
especially if it's a Christian woman that they had married or something, the children definitely don't go to the mother. So they made all kinds of excuses there to try to justify the treatment of women in Islam. And I was going to play that, and I thought, you know what, it's just disgusting listening to these two bloviate to begin with. So why even do that? Okay, so let's go around the horn. I see that Dr.
Isa.
Kabir just got here. Dr. Kabir just got here. He doesn't have a beer, so what are we going to hear from the Dr. Kabir?
Thank you.
I saw you were trying to get in. I'm sorry for that. We had 10 people. As soon as we got 10 people, you can't get in. And I'm not paying StreamYard another $25 a month to get the premium package where you can have 12 people talking over each other.
12. You would think they would double it.
Well, I'm glad that people could come in that usually don't come in, so I'm happy for that. The thing I wanted to share. I'm sorry, I think it's like I think we do need to think about that class could be a part of the situation. We did hear in that last video that the woman, that family was in poverty, so that was.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just turned off the Blog Talk Radio.
Cool.
Mute yourself, Eric, please, because it's echoing on our end. Sorry.
Is that better now? Okay.
Oh, it's perfect.
Thank you. We need to look at poverty as well. That's an important thing to think about, that there is poverty in these situations, that's a part of the situation of why there's child marriage. And richer Islamic families would not necessarily be open to these types of things. And I know this is probably a little bit of a controversial position on the panel, but this is my personal opinion. I think there are different perspectives in Islam, and I think different perspectives of the Prophet of Islam. Some see him as a very kind, compassionate person. Then you have the person from the text, and we have these different issues that are engaged. So I'm just being slightly of a counterpoint, but I just think that's important to consider those points too, that this may not be a majority of Muslims, but it does exist and it needs to be addressed, and we do need to speak out again. I totally agree with all that. I wouldn't throw all the Muslims under the bus with that. I would just say these Muslims.
No, we don't. We don't. No, that's why we show Islamic sources.
My personal thought is they have not talked about Muslims. They have talked about the faith structure Islam and what it teaches.
Right. That's the point. That's always the point.
One of the things that I want to make sure. Okay, just so we understand, and I can understand how you might gain that perception, and I get that. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that all Muslims believe this. All Muslims practice. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But
my son's Muslim. I kidnap. Yeah. So.
Right. And what I am saying though is that those who do practice these things are fully justified in doing them because of what the Quran and the Hadith teach and what Muhammad did. Right. So I get it, and I appreciate you. Bringing that perspective up, I really do, but I want to make sure that we don't think that much that all Muslims are like that. I have full faith and confidence that the majority of Muslims, especially in the West, have much more or a much higher level of morality than Muhammad would ever have.
Amen.
And they're much better than Muhammad. Amen. Because when we look at the life of Muhammad and what he did, it is completely immoral. Climbing on top of a 9-year-old girl is an unforgivable act, even if he did it just once. But he did it for a lifetime, or the rest of his life.
I would say a lot of Muslims don't believe this particular Muhammad. They have a different kind of Muhammad. And I understand that it's not maybe a textual Muhammad that exists, but their prophet, who is Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, this person is a kind, compassionate, empathetic person who cares about people. That they don't. The Muslims,
fake Muhammad,
don't believe in the Muhammad that's presented in the text. I'm just saying that's what I've seen.
If they believe
fake
that,
Muhammad,
okay, and I get that, and I appreciate that. But but when you expose them to all of the things that you can focus on the good things of somebody, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But my problem is this is my problem, and we just saw it in that video that Connie provided. That when people do follow the sunnah, the pattern of conduct for is supposed to be perfect, it becomes very problematic, especially in the 21st century. And it's I don't know. I cannot get over the fact that you are going to think that this guy was somehow a prophet when your own most trusted sources say that he did these things, and your own Quran provides a provision. Now think about this. It provides a provision to divorce a little girl who you had sex with that is prepubescent. What kind of holy book does that? And I'm sorry. I have too much respect for little kids.
I would not even call it holy if it does that.
Well, it's not holy, but
I'll give it the word generous, but it's definitely not holy.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
The hole in the sense of hole, a lot of holes in it. Yes.
Right. Okay. All right. Do you have anything else to add to that, Isa? I'm sorry. I get your take on that, and you're wanting to provide some type of pushback for that, and that I have no problem with you doing that at all. But I just can't get there. I'm sorry.
Just a very quick point, a quick observation. What we need to recognize is that the sources that we in the West are now able to read and analyze, the average Muslim does not have access to what we have access to. So they're filtered. Their Muhammad is filtered through what the Imam teaches them. Right? We have access to basically all the sources now, thanks to the internet, but they don't. So many of them, as you say, will have a different impression of Muhammad than we do, who have a more complete picture from the information that's available to us.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, George. I mean, what we have available to us today has not been available for all of the time that Islam has been in existence for wide publication and dissemination. And if it was available, people aren't going to talk about that publicly. Well, did you know our prophet did this? Really? You're reviling the prophet. Haven't you read the Sharia? Shut up. Okay. George, do you have anything else that you want to add?
I do want to say a little response to that. I
go
want to
ahead.
validate what's being said. I completely hear it and I understand it. It's hard to hear it and it's painful to hear it, but I understand that because I like to take an interfaith, open-minded position. That's usually where I like to go and try to be accepting of different perspectives. I know that might be like a little bleeding liberal heart position. I know that. I understand that might be more of a what's it called, a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed perspective, and I understand that. And I would say that, trying to, I think, to address what Mr. George was saying, he was saying that there's maybe a fuller picture, but is that limited picture that people have a false picture? Is that a false picture, or is that picture real for those people? Does that become a false situation, or can that be a real person? And that other narrative that may be in the text may not be real for those people. And I'm just saying it's a possibility, but I understand taking a textual, literal position. There are
you got the COVID
consequences to that.
Isa, you got the COVID?
No.
Okay, well, if you can cough, mask up. Put a mask on.
I've been having a cough. It's been rough, but
I hope you're feeling
better. We'll get through all of it. So.
Yes,
I do appreciate your compassion and understanding and listening to what I have to say. I just wanted to share that alternative.
This isn't like it's the Kenny show where we just cut off anybody that dissents and doesn't agree with me.
Right.
Put him backstage. Put him backstage.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. So, Dr. Kabir. Yes, their picture is a false picture. Before you came on, we were having a discussion about David Koresh and looking at the parallels between the cult of Koresh and the cult of Muhammad. Now, David Koresh opened the Bible and he had Bible study. Wow, he must be a great Christian. No, because he was lining up the women and the little young girls to have sex with them. So I'm saying to you, if I just told you about the Bible part, you would say, "Oh, he's a good guy." But when I give you the entire picture, you realize that he was a monster. So yes, the picture that we're presenting with respect to using the entire Islamic literature to get a proper picture of Muhammad, that is the correct thing to do.
There's one more
not
thing,
isolating a part that you like and forgetting about the rest. Sorry, go ahead.
One more thing on top of what George says when he talks about David Koresh. When they have pictures of, they had a lot of videos of David Koresh speaking, but they had no pictures of his followers actually reading the Bible when he was speaking. So, they weren't allowed to check their imaginary prophet against the scriptures. And that isn't
right.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
familiar with it. I was there. I did see that, and I'm aware of that. It was a very. I ate the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. Basically, kind of went in and engaged that. So I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. So Dr. Kabir, I understand the bleeding heart, bushy tail, bright-eyed approach that you want to take, and I know it's well intentioned, but I am saying that we need all the information to get a correct picture. That's all I am saying.
I hear you.
Okay, let's go with the Canadian Kafir. Hasn't spoken the entire show. He's remained silent.
Well, how
there
can
he is. I can hear that amplifier going off in the background. There you go. I can hear
how
you now.
can I get a word in with the radical moderate
I know,
there?
the guy never shuts up, does he?
No, he doesn't. But one of the big problems with the sources is that it's in Arabic, and it's only accepted in Arabic when only 15% of the entire Ummah are native Arab speakers and can actually understand it. So they're reliant on what their imam says, which will always show Muhammad in the best light. And with that, I'm going to sign off.
All righty, sir. Thank you for coming today. This is the first time he's been on the panel, and we appreciate him coming. Been a long time coming. All right, let's flip over to Dominic. Dominic made it back into the room. What's that noise? Connie, what are you doing? Are you on the treadmill or something? Here, let me mute you. There. Yeah, okay. Dominic, you got anything to say for the gallery today?
No, I just think it's a terrible practice. But the thing is, you were saying it happens in other countries. It happens in Western countries. It's just underneath the you have like honor killings or things like that that are just underneath the scenes. So this type of stuff happens, and it's terrible. To me,
well, it's the treatment of the overall treatment of women, period. And I get that sexual exploitation of a 50-year-old man and a 6-year-old, 9-year-old girl, whatever. But it's all the other things too.
Yeah.
That I brought up, and there's even more that there's even other things that I could have gone to.
But it's the combined thing. I mean, you have the aspect of the women testimony. You have that aspect that there's more women in hell than there is in heaven. You have this. It's like there's so many different things that you have combined together. It's like.
Well, remember what the justification for that is? The reason why they're in hell is because they were disobedient to their husbands.
Yet they've got in heaven they have 70 virgins that are just not human beings. Yeah. So you have at one point you have it's insane. It's absolutely insane. But I mean, if you look like someone, but the things, I mean, you said someone like Iran. I mean, Iran looked like a Western country. Was it, if you look at photos of Iran like 1970, 1980,
right,
and then you look at photos of Iran now, like it's what it's done to women is terrible.
Yeah. True that. All right, let's flip it over to Dr. Kufar. Let's go, Brandon.
I just want to say you guys are a bunch of Islamophobes.
That's right.
I mean, Muhammad was such a nice guy. He cuddled his wife when she was feeling bad. You know, he rubbed her neck.
Helped women across the street and carried their groceries for them. Yes, all these things.
And by the way, I'm selling that cup right there. That's my coffee mug.
Because you have in Islam that you can have 4 wives, but you can't have 4. You haven't gone into that, the whole aspect of 4 wives with the.
Oh no, but it's not 4 because the Quran says you can marry 2 or 3 or 4, so that's 9 right there.
Plus 6, plus 6 slaves. Plus 6 slaves.
Oh, the sex slaves are unlimited now. There's no limit on the sex slaves.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Connie. Connie, do you got anything for the peanut gallery here?
Yeah, the thing about interfaith is going to try to show Muhammad in the best light, as our friend CDN Kafir said. And that's the thing that I take issue about interfaith.
I don't understand what do you mean, the interfaith, when you're dialoguing
The interfaith,
with
the interfaith movement, like Dr. Kafir was saying, is, he was mentioning the interfaith,
Right.
and making his point, right? But the thing is they don't tell you, true Islam. They try to show Muhammad in the best light, and that's not true. And that's why we do this show, is to show who this man really was, called Muhammad, according to Islam. So yeah, that's my take.
All right, thank you, Connie. George, do you have any passing words of kindness, wisdom?
I just want to endorse what Connie just said, that we're in search of truth. He was a human being, and he is someone who even God loved him. God loved Muhammad. However, we do believe, based on our knowledge of his life, based on the information from their most trusted sources, that he was a false prophet. And what we're trying to do, and I can hear the love in Connie's voice, what we're doing is not out of hate for Muslims, it's out of love for Muslims, so that they can see the light and stop being deceived. That's the key point, that we love the Muslims and we want them to stop being deceived and come to the light of Jesus Christ.
Amen. You're exactly right. I mean, if you have cancer, you wouldn't want the doctor to say, "Hey, you're going to be all right. It's all good. Here, take a couple of aspirin. You're going to be just fine." No, you're going to want, even as god awful as it is, as offensive and scary as it is, you're going to want him to tell you the truth. And that's what, we try to do here. And we might be, and I apologize if we come across as being offensive. But sometimes it takes a jolt to get you out of that slumber that you're in, to say that a man who has done these things throughout his entire life, gets as many things wrong in the Quran as he does, was somehow a prophet in the line of the Abrahamic covenant and the Jewish faith, is just absolutely ridiculous. And
we say this to give a voice to these little girls that have survived, from this awful action.
When we do bring this up, look at the reaction that we get. We're the ones that are labeled as hate preachers, bigots, Islamophobes, racists, things of this nature. That's the reaction that you get. When you've lost the argument, that's what you do. You start calling people names. Okay, Paul, last words. Go ahead, sir. No pressure. Don't screw it up.
I have been working with Usama Dakdak and doing my own show exposing what they have destroyed our textbooks on, in that it no longer gives a fair or objective view of who Muhammad was. It's not close to honest. It's entirely deceitful. And that is due to what I would call the acceptance of the interfaith model. For those of you who are unaware, the interreligious and cultural values, which is also known as the Islamic Council of Education, are the ones who now decide what is in your textbooks. So I submit to you, interfaith is a dangerous, very highly dangerous concept. When you don't allow someone to speak truth, because everything must be beautified to allow anything to be seen. You have just allowed people to willingly pull, and if you're going to accept that, you're not asking for truth. You're not pursuing truth, and I don't think that's true of Dr. Kabir. I think he was probably raised similar to myself, where I was always told that's not, that's really where you want to be. I would rather be in a post where, this is from too many years of experience. I left the concept of interfaith when I saw that interfaith groups start paying people off for killing Christians. And the first group I saw do that was the World Council of Churches. And so I submit, do not trust any organization that calls itself interfaith. We have to be people who seek out truth. We don't teach that in public schools anymore. We don't teach kids to do research. We don't. We used to teach that from grade school on up. Now we teach them to copy and paste. So we have destroyed your children's education. I'm saying we because as educators, I'm retired after 20 plus years. We've destroyed by not standing up and saying, we can't do this. And educators in many ways have no choice. But when we started to accept these things, just because they're in our textbooks, we gave up on facts to decide to make people happy. I have serious issues with not accepting the truth. Thank you.
Okay. All right, guys. Great show. Great conversations today. I appreciate everybody that came to the panel, even when the room was too full to get in. We appreciate you continuing to try to get here and voicing your opinions. Everybody that participated in the chat, again, I mean, I've been trying to keep up with your comments and post as many on the screen so people watching the live stream later on will be able to see what you guys are saying in there. Remember to share, like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications for this program. I usually build the shows 2-3 days out, and this way you know what the next show is going to be about. Tuesday, I think, George, we're going to go with yours. No pressure. What killed Muhammad? And he wasn't hit by a train, so we can rule that one out.
He didn't die for old age.
This is true. This is true. All right. God bless everybody. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you next week on the Cross and the Crescent, or next Tuesday. I'm sorry, Cross and Crescent discussion. God bless.